through 5th at the Fresno Fairgrounds. Info at fresnoshows.com.
Helen here with Chris Moran with a major solar industry update. So Chris, what makes this update so urgent?
The state of California has released a decision that will cut the savings from a new solar system by 75%. It's called NEM 3.0. Luckily, anyone who already has solar under NEM 2.0 will be locked in under the current benefits. But anyone who goes solar after April will do so under the new program, which honestly isn't great.
So, what should people do?
Well, for anyone listening, if you've been considering solar, now really is the time. Many people will regret not getting their system installed before these changes go into effect. And once April comes, it'll be too late.
And since Solar Negotiators is the only contractor to provide lifetime maintenance and no true-up monitoring, people can make the right choice. Lock in your project now with Solar Negotiators powered by Solar Maintenance Pros, your lifetime energy partner.
News Talk, 580 AM, 1059 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station. KMJ.
Mostly sunny, 53 at Radio City. It's 2 o'clock. I'm Liz Kern in the KMJ newsroom. Members of the National Guard are set to arrive in the San Bernardino Mountains to help people who have been trapped in their homes for several days by heavy snow. This comes after Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency for 13 counties, including San Bernardino, as a series of winter storms hit the state. Cal OES says there are currently 6 congregate shelters open across 6 counties. Crews are working around the clock to clear roads and highways. I-80 is open again, and both the Grapevine and State Route 58 over the Tehachapi Pass are open. The recent storms have pushed some areas of California into the drought-free zone. We get the details from KMJ's Gabe Navarro.
According to the latest figures by the U.S. Drought Monitor, portions of the region now show no water issues. Thanks to the feet of snow dumped by recent winter storms, both Mariposa and Tuolumne counties are now out of any drought conditions. And the same can also be said for eastern portions of Fresno, Madera, and Tulare counties. And according to these latest figures, the Drought Monitor says this is the first time since January 2020 the Sierra Nevada mountains and the foothills have been drought-free. Gabe Navarro, KMJ News.
Angry North Valley residents forced supervisors to briefly leave the room during public comments on a town that's still recovering from a devastating flood.
Residents of Planada spoke out to the Merced County Board of Supervisors Tuesday about the lack of help they're receiving after a January flood ravaged their town. It forced the board to call for a brief recess and ordered sheriff's deputies to ask them to leave the chamber. Before the meeting, residents like Maria Nava gathered outside the Merced County building to plead for better flood response.
Please do not turn a blind eye to everybody who are looking at you for a solution, and you are telling us that good enough is what you can do, and it's not good enough.
But the county's Director of Community and Economic Development says over 90% of properties of those forced to temporarily relocate in Planada are or have already been repaired. Ruth Michaels, KMJ News.
An accused serial bombing suspect is now behind bars following a complex investigation led by Fresno police.
44-year-old Scott Anderson is now accused in 7 bombings that took place in the Fresno area over a span of 3 months. Fresno police say the first explosion dates back to December 13th. Investigators say 6 of these bombings involved blowing up vehicles, one of them a Fresno County probation car.
Just the fact that they targeted a law enforcement vehicle was of great concern to us.
According to a federal complaint, Anderson used rental cars when carrying out the attacks. Search warrants were served at 3 separate locations, and investigators found 11 illegal guns, 90 pounds of methamphetamine packaged for sale, and $50,000 in cash.
Additional evidence provided a link between Anderson and what we believe is a white supremacist group.
And that was Fox 26 News reporter Myra Franco. Lawmakers introduced reform legislation that would make big changes to the way that farmers promote their crops. We get the details from KMJ's Ag Director Don York.
A bipartisan effort in the U.S. Senate calls for reforming agricultural checkoff programs. Checkoffs are mandatory Department of Agriculture fees assessed on a per-unit basis that fund boards designed to promote the commodity as a whole. But one lawmaker thinks that checkoff programs are filled with waste and oftentimes abuse those who are forced to contribute. The bill, called the Opportunities for Fairness in Farming Act, would prohibit checkoff programs from contracting with any organization that lobbies on agricultural policy. So far, the legislation is getting mixed reviews from agricultural groups. John York, KMJ News.
On Wall Street, the Dow ended up gaining 341 points. Now here's Fox 26's Justin Willis with our Thursday forecast.
Sunny this afternoon with highs remaining below normal. We're in the mid-50s across the valley and will likely stay that way for about a week. Normally, we're in the mid-60s. Another freeze warning for tomorrow morning with temps on the valley floor getting as low as 27. Next chance of rain comes Saturday night into Sunday. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Ever wonder why your business doesn't show up on online search maps, but your competitors do? It's hundreds of things. Things that Cumulus Boost can identify and fix. And that's how we boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi. Philip Teresi. Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
205. It's News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Thursday afternoon installment of your Afternoon Drive. Phone numbers here are 490-5858. Toll free, you can join me at 800-776-5858 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You're going to find the show at Drive KMJ. If you want to watch the live stream, do that on Facebook Live, Twitch, or YouTube, also at Drive KMJ. Joshua Weekly is standing by to screen your calls this afternoon as we check out the daily buzz question at KMJNow.com. It's brought to you by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Center. If and when it is completed, will you ride the high-speed rail? Let us know what you think. KMJNow.com. Again, the Daily Buzz question is sponsored by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers. If the high-speed rail is ever completed, will I ride it? Maybe. I'm not going to ignore the potential value of a transportation option if indeed there is value in it. I am not in that big of a hurry to get from Bakersfield to Merced. I would not at this time feel it necessary to take a train of any sort to Bakersfield or Merced. Now, I do actually really hate driving. And so if I was in a situation where I had to make a commute somewhere from Bakersfield to Merced, I would consider it, although we have Amtrak. I'm not going to turn my nose up at it. I paid for it. You paid for it. But it's got to make sense financially, because once we get past the Bakersfield to Merced leg, which I anticipate probably happening sometime around the time that I retire, and considering that Fresno Yosemite International Airport is, again, updating and expanding, which means more flights, it means potentially more airlines, which means more options and better prices. I'm not sure there's any place that the high-speed rail can take me that I can't get on a commuter jet and get to for probably the same price and probably a lot quicker. Now, yeah, the airport's a different headache, and I feel silly flying to San Francisco. But unless the high-speed rail is going to dig a route from Palm Springs to Seattle, considering what I've heard the ticket prices are going to look like, I don't know. I don't think so. But I'm not going to turn my nose up at it. I'm not going to refuse to consider it. That would be silly. If we paid for it, it's ours. Now, it may end up operating on government subsidies until hell freezes over, because if enough people feel about this the way that I feel about this, and few enough people are commuting from Bakersfield to Merced, we may be sending empty trains back and forth, or mostly empty trains back and forth, in order to keep alive what has evolved to be a jobs program. Because that's the milestone. That's the brag. Last week, we've created 10,000 jobs. Now, I'm not mad at the guys and gals who have gone and gotten jobs. We all got to work. I'm not mad at the folks who are punching the clock. I am frustrated by what the voters voted for being undermined and manipulated, the massive rug pull that this boondoggle has been revealed to be. I'm mad at the folks at the top of that food chain who continue profit taking millions upon millions of dollars going to salaries for administrators of a system that doesn't exist. But no, I'm not mad at the guy who's pouring concrete. I'm not mad at the chick who's doing public information work. I'm frustrated with the state of California. I'm frustrated with the legislature. I'm frustrated with the High-Speed Rail Authority. We didn't get what we agreed to. We aren't getting what we're paying for. And I have grave doubts that even when this thing is finally moving, that it's going to provide a superior value for people who need transportation along that route. I mean, right now, if you had the option to fly to Bakersfield, and yeah, I know private pilots, you guys get to do that. But if you had something going on in Bakersfield, you have a concert you're going to attend at, I don't know what they're calling it. It used to be the Rabobank Arena. Maybe you're in agriculture and you've got something going on in Tulare, and it's just going to be more convenient to get to the International Agri Center from Baco than from Fresno. If the plane ticket's $200, would you take it? Or are you going to say, forget it, hop in your truck and take the drive? And have your own vehicle so you're not paying for a rental. And have the option to pick up and go home when you feel like it so you don't have to miss a conference. You don't have to walk out on lunch. And if the idea of taking that flight sounds a little bit silly, what's different about the high-speed rail? We didn't get what we voted on. We've already spent more money than we ever agreed to. It's a jobs program. I'm not going to condemn the people that took the jobs. But as far as writing it, it's got to give me a better value than what I've already got. And right now, I don't anticipate that. Anyways, let us know what you think. Check out the Buzz question at kmjnow.com. If or when it's completed, will you ride the high-speed rail? That Buzz question is brought to you by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Centers. Coming up this afternoon, we got a lot of ground to cover. We will get to this bizarre story of Biden laughing at a grieving mother about the story of her children's overdose. We've got some businesses in Madera that are losing their minds. They're closed. Their stock is ruined. Their inventory is damaged. And they're getting no help from the city, no help from the county, clearing up a flooding problem that has been a known issue at this intersection in Madera for years. Of course, the care courts thing and Mariposa, Madera, and other counties in California being declared as to be under a state of emergency by the governor, as well as the Adam Kinzinger performance artists, the people in straitjackets running around the Capitol. I did want to update you guys on the Fresno Unified Communication effort. Two weeks ago now, I reached out to the communications officer of the Fresno Unified School District. I also reached out to the superintendent. I reached out to the Area 7 trustee, Susan Wittrup. I reached out to Armand Tarigian, the principal of Bullard High School. And my initial questions, couched in the understanding that there is by law no way that the school or the district can disclose personal information about an individual student. They can't do it. It's the law. That's not Fresno Unified. That's the law. I had some questions that would have been, in my opinion, reassuring to have good answers to. And I got no kind of answer. I got a homework assignment and a strangely, inappropriately, unprofessionally condescending response from the chief communications officer. And last week, I received another video of another violent beating on the Bullard High campus. And I followed up because I want to talk to Superintendent Nelson. Dr. Bob Nelson is making over $400,000 a year as the superintendent of the Fresno Unified School District. It is his desk at which the buck is allegedly supposed to stop. He has not responded to any of my messages. I wanted to hear from Susan Wittrop, the trustee for the Bullard area. When she was campaigning, she had a lot of good ideas about what needs to be promoted on campus in order to ensure a move in the right direction as far as campus safety, as far as campus tranquility, so that kids can focus on the business of learning. I wanted to hear from Principal Teregian because this started with his team. And the response that I got included dismissing you as too insignificant a body as to be worth the time of any of these people. And that has become, in its own right, in my mind, a new issue. Now, the young lady, Addie, who was the victim of that battery, she's left. She's done with Fresno Unified. She's done with Bullard High School. She is moving on to greener pastures. She's going to be fine. She's recovering. Her health will, her health and her athleticism will remain with her. And thank God. I've also got a letter from the batterer, the young lady, the wrestler who beat up Addie. And I'm still weighing what to share of that letter, not because I don't think that kid should have a voice, but because to be perfectly frank, there's more acknowledgement of failures on the part of Fresno Unified. And I want to make sure that I am representing the situation as she's represented it to me, while not betraying the right to privacy that all of these kids have. A week ago Tuesday, I shared a clip of the second video with that same group. Principal Teregian, Trustee Wittrop, Superintendent Nelson, and the Chief Communications Officer. I got a more measured and reasonable response from Trustee Wittrop, which I was pleased to see. It doesn't really answer any questions, but it is a much more appropriate response given what we're seeing on the campus of Bullard High School, which is her area of service. And I reiterated my questions. And what I received back from Nikki Henry 7 business days after I sent it, questions that anybody who's drawing a paycheck of $150,000 a year from the Fresno Unified School District, questions they should all be able to answer off the top of their head. What I received back was a handful of one-liners with none of the supporting documentation referenced. I asked her, what is the Fresno Unified or Bullard High policy for involving law enforcement when a battery is committed on campus? Her answer, here's the relevant board policy for law enforcement. Here is the AR. I don't know what that is. In addition, our practice at any school is to involve law enforcement should we believe a crime is committed or suspected. Well, finally, that last part constitutes something resembling an answer. But there is no link. There is no attachment. Then I asked, does that policy have exceptions? She responds, no, law enforcement should be involved should a crime be suspected. Finally, an answer. I ask if the policy has any exceptions for mutual combat. Again, I go back to a couple of boys punching each other in the nose is a very different thing than the cage fighting, skull kicking we saw in those videos. She says there are no policy specifics around so-called mutual combat. That is a reasonable response. I asked, what is the Fresno Unified or Bullard High policy regarding parent and guardian communication in the event of a fight or assault? She says you can find that information on parent notification in this board policy on anti-bullying and this one on conflict resolution, as well as this on suspension and expulsion and due process. No links, no attachments. There is no information. The entirety of her answer is that line, which is not an answer. I ask her, does that policy include discouraging families from disclosing the facts of disciplinary or criminal issues involving their children? She says, no, it does not. And I ask, what are the possible consequences of a student assaulting another student? She says you can find that information on our board policy on suspension and expulsion due process, as well as this one on discipline. Again, there are no documents linked, there are no documents attached, so there is no answer to the question. I ask her if a parent or a student has evidence of a crime, should they share it with campus administration, district administration, law enforcement, or some other entity? Again, we get an actual answer. Yes, they should definitely share with campus administration every time and law enforcement should they suspect a crime has been committed. An answer. Then I ask, will a Bullard student be disciplined for capturing videos or photos of a crime if they're found to have violated the Yonder Pouch policy in order to do so? The answer she gives me is the Yonder Pouch does not apply in this situation as the incident happened before school began. Discipline regarding the use of the Yonder Pouch would take into consideration the circumstances of the incident. Okay. An answer. And I say again, I would appreciate some time with any of the primary administrators in the Bullard chain of command, Teresi, Wittrup, or Nelson. My audience, Fresno Unified families, and the community at large deserve better to be blown off in the hopes of saving face. To which she responds, I appreciate your request, but we will not be granting an interview at this time. I emailed her back. I said, none of your attachments are there. None of your links are there. Instead of sending me the attachments or correcting the links, she's arguing with me that she did too put links in the original send. She did not. I checked. So the $150,000 a year chief communications officer for the Fresno Unified School District doesn't understand how to insert links into an email. She also doesn't know how to answer simple and direct questions. I have some new questions that I have shared with Ms. Henry, and I'll share those questions with you when we get back on the afternoon drive on KMJ.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. At Blindster, we offer over 50 different custom window treatments, including faux wood blinds and shutters, all at prices less than retail. Plus, we'll send you free samples before you buy. Don't hire an expensive pro. Do it yourself and save big at Blindster.com.
Old vehicle to carsforkids.org. The original carsforkids.org is the best vehicle donation charity, changing the lives of kids for more than 30 years, giving them a second chance at a brighter future because of your vehicle donations. Carsforkids.org offers free towing and takes vehicles in any condition. Plus, you'll receive a $50 gift card. Carsforkids.org. Donate your vehicle today.
Carsforkids.org. Right off the car, not the kid.
There must be some serious madness this March at the Tachi Palace because we're giving away over $400,000 in cash and prizes. Ah! People told us we were crazy, mad even to give away over $400,000 in 1 month, but we said it would be crazy not to give away over $400,000 in 1 month. I mean, it's madness for us to give away over $400,000 this March. Just to recap, March, $400,000 madness! The Tachi Palace Casino Resort. This is 40.
Are the continuous rising energy bills crushing you? Want to pay less for your home's electricity and lock in that lower rate into the future? Your family deserves the best. And when it comes to powering your home, there's no better provider than Simply Solar. With Simply Solar, going solar has never been easier. From our expert consultants to our in-house installers and the best financing. No payments for 18 months. Take advantage of the solar tax credit before it's gone. Going with Simply Solar means more money in your pocket for the things that matter, plus clean and renewable power to light up your home and family. Call now for a free consultation. For our Central Valley listeners, mention this radio ad for $1,000 off your solar system. Net metering ends in California on April 13th. Call Simply Solar at 559-892-1043 now. That's 559-892-1043. Simply Solar, keeping solar simple. 559-892-1043.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Is the cost of medication stopping you from getting ED treatment? At 4hims.com/radio, you can get access to trusted, effective ED treatments for 95% off the typical price. Through HIMS, a licensed medical provider can prescribe the generic versions of Viagra, Cialis, and other name brand ED treatments at up to 95% off. Trusted ED treatments for a fraction of the price. Simple, affordable, totally online access to ED treatment with no insurance required starts at 4hims.com/radio. No more doctor's offices, no more copays, and no more trips to the pharmacy. If prescribed, your order ships directly to you for free in discreet packaging. ED treatment that's 95% less expensive so you can get back to feeling 100% like yourself. Start your free visit today at 4hims.com/radio. That's FORHIMS.com/RADIO for your free visit. 4hims.com/radio.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202 now. I'm here with spokesman for the firm, John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call in.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here with you. We always enjoy answering the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now to speak with a live agent for free. Call 800-843-4202.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
This is KMJ, Fresno Unified's least favorite station.
Rolling up on 2:30 on your afternoon drive. It's News Talk 580 on 105.9 KMJ. Phones are open for your calls at 490-5858 and toll free 800-776-5858. So we're following up on the Fresno Unified School District's communications. This woman, Nikki Henry, she is an employee of you, the taxpayer. She doesn't want to talk to you. Doesn't want to answer questions. Doesn't want to answer my questions. Doesn't want to answer your phone calls. Only conducts business via email and apparently doesn't know how to insert links into emails. And God forbid we just answer the question outright. Now, I told you, she attempted to respond, and by virtue of just a simple lack of wiggle room, finally actually answered about a third of the questions that I sent them 2 weeks ago when we started discussing the story of this violent battery on the Bullard High School campus. Still waiting for her to send me the actual information that I have now requested 3 times. But I've also sent some new questions, which she did not address in her reply to me, assuring me that the links that were not in her email were in her email. And yes, I went back and checked, and the links are just not there. I responded to her, Nikki, I don't know if you're missing attachments, links, or quotes, but there's several references that seem incomplete. I highlighted them in the email below. I said I'd also like to follow up with some questions about Fresno Unified's plans to improve on the situation and the flight of students from the district. These are new questions I put to her today that she is not answering as yet. I ask what policies are being considered for revision in light of the past few weeks of ongoing violence on Fresno Unified campuses. I ask her to specify what support exactly does the Fresno Unified School District offer victims of on-campus crime? I ask her what specific steps are being implemented to improve communication between on-campus administration, downtown, and families with crime and safety complaints. I ask her why the Facebook group, FUSD Family, is being purged of references to on-campus issues, like what happened at Bullard, and district shortcomings, like the failure of the superintendent to speak to campus safety. There are multiple people who have sent me screenshots of Nikki reiterating that the function of FUSD Family is to blow sunshine up each other's keisters, and telling people that she's going to delete their posts because it's not sunny and happy enough. I've asked what steps the Fresno Unified School District has taken to address the concerns raised by Wawona teachers and staff following the December board meeting at which they spoke. And I linked, and actually successfully linked, the article from our news partner, KMPH Fox 26, Crisis in the Classroom, Parents and Teachers Beg for Help from Out-of-Control Students. That would be the article wherein multiple staff members referred to Wawona as a school on fire. I asked her, has Superintendent Nelson kept his own children out of the Fresno Unified School District because of campus safety or because of the district's academic performance? Because Bob Nelson, who makes over $400,000 a year as the superintendent of the Fresno Unified School District, has multiple school-age children. None of them attend Fresno Unified Schools. Not one. I then asked Superintendent Nelson link those same concerns with the transfer of hundreds of Fresno Unified School District students to outside districts. I asked what percentage of Fresno Unified employees have removed their children from the Fresno Unified School District, regardless of any stated reason. And finally, I asked when the trustees of the Fresno Unified School Board will return the public comment portion of the board meeting to its original time. As yet, the communications officer of the Fresno Unified School District, a public employee making in excess of $150,000 a year, has answered none of those questions. Shall we all hold our breath, perhaps while Liz Kern brings you the news?
This is KMJ Breaking News.
Just into the newsroom, Fresno County proclaims a state of emergency due to the winter storms. It's impacted several county roads and caused numerous hazards throughout all of the county, which can cause peril to human safety and property. The purpose of the proclamation is to address extensive weather-related damage as well as future damage from the snowmelt, debris flow, and flooding throughout the more than 6,000 square miles in Fresno County. A student is dead, a teenager now in custody after a stabbing at a Bay Area high school Wednesday. KTVU reporter Henry Lee reports.
Now, it all happened at Montgomery High School here in Santa Rosa at about 11:10 in an art classroom. Two 16-year-old boys went into the room. They got into a fight with a third student who was 15 years old. That 15-year-old then took a folding knife with a 4 to 5 inch blade and ended up stabbing both 16-year-olds. One was stabbed in the chest and neck numerous times and later died at a hospital. The other 16-year-old was stabbed in the hand. He is expected to be okay. That 15-year-old boy who had the knife ran from campus but was found hiding in a nearby creek bed and is now in custody.
It appears that there had been some previous altercations between these students. That'll be one of the things that our investigators are looking into.
The Fresno County Board of Supervisors has designated a portion of Friant Road in memory of Gavin Gladding. The Clovis Unified Vice Principal was killed while jogging by a hit-and-run driver along that stretch of road. That was in September of 2018. Here's Fresno County Supervisor Nathan Magsig.
I want to let you know that Fresno County will remember, and with this street dedication, it's a small thing, but it is a way that we can show our appreciation for the work that Gavin did in our community.
The road named after Gladding runs from Willow Avenue south to the Fresno city limits. The Olympics will host an esports event for the second time, but not without criticism.
The International Olympic Committee announcing their plans for what they call a, quote, global, virtual, and simulated sports competition. The Olympic Esports Series 2023 will feature 9 games, including for motorsport, Microsoft's Gran Turismo, and Ubisoft series Just Dance, a rhythm game focused on dancing using a camera to track movement. The finals will take place in Singapore from June 22nd to 25th. Critics took to Twitter to complain about the choices of games. Rocket League, League of Legends, and Fortnite are just some of the esports that are popular and aren't on the list. Eamon Dignam, Fox News.
On Wall Street, the Dow ended up 341 points, closing at 33,003. The S&P 500 added 29 points. Nasdaq gained 83. 2:34 at KMJ. Valley weather right now, sunny, 54 at Radio City. Here's Fox 26's Justin Willis with more of our Thursday forecast.
Another freeze warning for tomorrow morning with temps on the valley floor getting as low as 27 overnight. Our next chance of rain, that comes Saturday night into Sunday. Otherwise, sunny this afternoon with highs remaining below normal. We're in the mid-50s across the valley and will likely stay that way for about a week. Normally, we're in the mid-60s. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Liz Kern, News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Want to save big on custom faux wood blinds, shutters, cellular shades, and more? Shop Blindster today and save up to 50% over comparable blinds from brick and mortar stores. Get custom blinds at low prices and free shipping at Blindster.com.
As a leprechaun, I've always been blessed with the luck of the Irish. Until me luck ran out and me air conditioning broke. How am I supposed to focus on counting me gold coins now? So I called Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. They've been servicing the valley for over 40 years.
Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. Oh, wow. Sir, just calm down.
Sorry, you got to fix me AC. Leprechauns are not built for this kind of weather.
We'll send a licensed, friendly professional out right away.
Lee's got me back up and running. Now I can count me gold coins in peace.
Get $1,000 towards a new warranty-backed HVAC unit when you trade in your old one. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating offers 0 interest and no payment for 18 months. No monthly payments, same as cash. Call Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating today for a free estimate at 559-785-1212. That's 559-785-1212. CLN 635355.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, agile, staying ahead of the market at every turn, and finding ways to do more with less. That's never been more important than it is right now. So for a limited time, Comcast Business is introducing Small Business Savings, a deal for companies across the country. When you call in now, you can get powerful internet for just $39 a month for 12 months. $39 a month. With no annual contract and a money-back guarantee. All on the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. With the company that powers more businesses than anyone else. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call and get started today. Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Offer ends 3/21/23. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet customers only. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Call or go online for details. After promo, regular rates apply.
This report is sponsored by Churches.
There are so many reasons to get hooked on Church's 8-piece shrimp meal. It's dippable, crunchable, downright irresistible, and it starts at $5.99. The only catch? It's only here for a limited time. Church's Texas Chicken. Welcome to the great state of flavor.
Filtered water in your home is easier than ever. Hey, it's me, Appleton. Taste and feel the difference with LifeSource Water. Visit lifesourcewater.com. Call them 559-449-8822.
Wendy's home-style French toast sticks are so delicious, some are saying that they're better than their mom's breakfast.
Excuse me. Did you just say Wendy's French toast sticks are better than my breakfast?
Mom, is that you?
Answer the question.
I said some people are saying that because they're so crispy on the outside and fluffy on the inside and perfect in every way.
Uh-huh. And what do you think?
I think it's time to tell people to choose wisely. Choose Wendy's sweet and crispy home-style French toast sticks.
That's still not an answer.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
Teresi. Streaming live on Alexa, Google Home, and everything else. Philip Teresi on KMJ.
2:40 on your afternoon drive. This is News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Online, you'll find us at kmjnow.com. And if you are, guys, I saw a picture of our FM transmitter stick. It's a snow cone. It's a giant metal snow cone. We know that the 105.9 signal has not been awesome, and we also knew it was because of the weather. We're not the only ones who have been affected. KMPH, KFRE, some of the other stations up on the hill are having similar issues. And the good news is with KMJ, you've got two directions to go. Old school, flip it over to 580 AM, where our transmitters are working just fine and are not in the mountains getting snowed on. Or grab the app. We got a brand new one. You can find it free in the Google Play and the iOS stores. Search for KMJ Now or 580 KMJ. Either way, you'll see the new app. Grab it, download it, use it, love it. It sounds fantastic. You can take us on the go wherever you need to hear KMJ. And but we are working on the FM transmitter as much as we can, considering right now the mountains are a snowy hellscape that I don't think any sane engineer wants to drive up into. Tommy checks in on Facebook Live at KMJ Now. He says, Teresi, you should run for FUSD president, dude. Clean the district up. One, I don't think there's a president position, but I take your meaning. The last thing any school district needs is a guy who barely got out of high school and who has a very difficult time watching his mouth when he gets irritated, stepping into the level of attrition would just be staggering. I appreciate your confidence, and I care very deeply as a member of this community and as a Fresno Unified parent. It matters. This is the third largest school district in our state. We are the world's fourth largest economy. The Fresno Unified School District is failing our kids in every way. We are allowing children to receive diplomas who cannot read, who cannot write, who cannot work a math problem at anything resembling grade level. And it is affecting our entire community. This isn't just a Fresno Unified parents issue. It affects our entire community. It's all of us. Because these kids get out of school, and when they don't have any education and they don't have any options and they don't have any concept of how to get along with other human beings in society, that has consequences, not just for them, but for everybody that they interact with. This school district is failing. And Bob Nelson having the stones to go on the record publicly and say, after nearly a decade in the superintendent's office, well, if I don't start fixing the academics, you should probably fire me in another 5 years. I think we should fire him now. I think that Bob Nelson has demonstrated that he is not up to the task. He's certainly not possessed of the fortitude to talk about the task. The only time the man has ever returned a phone call was when it was to talk about the Mackenzie Bezos donation, that massive, generous lump of money that she sent to the district. There's $20 million in the fund for the Fresno Unified Foundation. What's being done for these kids? What's being done for these teachers? What's being done for our community? You've got a school district with a $20 billion budget, and 17% of kids graduating are able to read at grade level. It's inexcusable. It's criminal. 490-5858 is the number here. Tracy, welcome back to KMJ.
Hi, Philip. You know, I know people on the air or people that listen to you might disagree with me, but in the private sector, I've had fairly easy success in finding out the policies and procedures of any company that I do business with, either as a consumer or maybe as a stockholder. Now, I may not like the policies and procedures, and I might disagree with them, and I may make a decision to change how I do business or whatever. But nonetheless, I've been able to find what it is I was looking for. And I would say that a lot of agencies that are as big as Fresno Unified have gotten to the point where I say it's the Window 3 problem or scenario. You start at window 1, and the guy says, well, I don't answer those questions. You got to go to window 3. And so you go to window 3, and that person over there says, well, you got to fill out these forms in triplicate, and you got to go down to window 6. Then window 6 says that they don't know the answer, and they're really not going to find the answer for you, and you got to just live with what you got. So when these agencies and some private companies get so large, what happens is there's a complacency that starts to develop, and people do not want to fix the problems. And frankly, they may not even know how to. So it's not a matter of you necessarily saying, Philip, I'm the only one that gets to decide how Fresno Unified School District operates, but you just want to know what it is they do and what they're allowed to do, entitled to do, and what they think they should have to do. And that's going to be a continuing problem in these large organizations. They just do not want to, or maybe cannot figure out how to answer your questions. And it's very frustrating. I don't even know that school vouchers are the answer. I'm not suggesting what the answer is, but if there's no competitiveness and people don't have any kind of responsibility, I'm with you. Nelson probably should be fired immediately. Some of these other people probably need to go or have contracts. That's what happens in the private sector for higher level executives. They don't make it and they're out.
And Trace, you're damn it, man, you're talking about common sense. You're talking about a responsibility to the shareholders. And in a private corporation, the shareholders are exactly that. They're the people that bought the stock. In the case of the Fresno Unified School District, you simply alter the verbiage slightly, and it becomes responsibility to the stakeholders. And the first and the most important stakeholders in the Fresno Unified School District are the students, always. Immediately behind the students are the students' families. They need to know that, first and foremost, their child's safe when they go to school. And then they need to know that their child is getting educated at school. Not about lovely, esoteric, philosophical ideas that you can spell esoteric, that you can count the syllables in the word philosophical, that you can do basic math. And then after that, you've got this massive, massive cohort that is the entire rest of society. The Fresno Unified School District doesn't believe that it has a responsibility to the rest of society. They don't believe that they have a responsibility to the families. The district office, as far as I can tell, isn't even particularly concerned with the responsibility to individual students. They certainly won't speak to that responsibility. They're perfectly happy to participate in culture wars, finger pointing. But in a majority-minority district, I know it's a little bit of an oxymoronic turn of phrase, but meaning that the majority of the students attending the Fresno Unified School District are not white. Not that that should matter, but that the majority of the students attending Fresno Unified are not white, and the district as a whole is failing. Means that even the people that are up there playing culture wars games are failing because they're not advancing the black and brown kids any more than the white and Asian kids. They're failing all of those kids, and by extension, they're failing the rest of us. Now, there's a lot of different potential solutions that exist. But to your point, Trace, and it's a good point, there is a line at which, with rare exception, an organization grows past the point where it is manageable by the level of talent that can be attracted into leadership. And as much as it pains me to say it, Fresno, partly because we're that part of California that isn't the coast and isn't the mountains, and partly because of the inexplicable civic inferiority complex that permeates this city, Fresno has a very hard time attracting or retaining the level of talent that you would see in a major market. Those reasons aren't great. We could do it, especially for $400,000 a year. Are you kidding me? You can live like a king in Fresno for that much money. Why aren't we doing that? And if we're not going to do that, Is it time to break up the Fresno Unified School District into smaller, more manageable pieces? Would simply splitting Fresno Unified on an east-west divide provide the level of relief and the granular control that's missing to allow campuses to fulfill their mission? More of your calls on the way. 490-5858, 800-776-5858. It's your afternoon drive on KMJ.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Want to save big on custom faux wood blinds, shutters, cellular shades, and more? Shop Blindster today and save up to 50% over comparable blinds from brick and mortar stores. Get custom blinds at low prices and free shipping at Blindster.com.
The 37th Annual Fresno Home and Garden Show, March 3rd through 5th at the Fresno Fairgrounds. While there, be sure to visit one of our special exhibitors, Raven Custom Homes.
Thinking about building a home? Think Raven Custom Homes. I'm Corbin Raven, second-generation builder. I was born into construction and took over from Dad 23 years ago. I know custom construction, and we do everything. Need site development? No power? No pad? No problem. We also draw plans, or we're happy to use yours. And of course, we'll connect you with financing. Start the process at ravencustomhomes.com and hit the contact button. Quotes are free. And yes, we do go to the mountains. Raven Custom Homes, building family homes worth raving about.
And be sure to visit Raven Custom Homes at the 37th Annual Fresno Home and Garden Show, March 3rd through 5th at the Fresno Fairgrounds. Info at fresnoshows.com.
Could you use monthly payments to help meet basic needs? Like putting food on the table, paying the rent, or buying new shoes for growing feet? Find out about Supplemental Security Income. You may qualify if your income and financial resources are low and you are 65 or older, or an adult or child with a disability or who is blind. Call 1-800-772-1213 or go to ssa.gov/SSI. Produced by Social Security at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ziprecruiter.com/free.
On December 15th, the Public Utilities Commission announced the biggest change to solar ever, NEM 3.0. And it's bad news for any farmer or business who has not gone solar already. But Pickett Solar, the Valley's leading commercial solar contractor, is here to help. It's called Net Energy Metering, or NEM. And under the current version, it's what makes solar such a great investment. With the newly passed NEM 3.0, the utilities will continue to keep raising your rates, will pay you less, and keep the profits for themselves. The value of solar will drop by 75%, and the payback period will go from 2 to 3 years to more than 10 years. There is still time to lock in the value of solar before this change happens. The deadline for NEM 2.0 savings is April 13th, so contact Pickett Solar today. Learn your options, see your savings, and allow us to submit your solar application under NEM 2.0. If you wait too long, NEM 3.0 could cost you millions. Go to PickettSolar.com.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This has been a test of the emergency alert system. Had this been an actual emergency, official instructions would have followed the tones you just heard. This concludes the test of the emergency alert system.
1922 was the first iteration of the KMJ call letters.
It's a walking, talking
mobile piece of history.
The signal goes from Sacramento to the Grapevine to the coast.
When KMJ went on the air, people didn't have radios.
Do I have my old radio voice? Whatever happened to Craig Mullison?
So it's got a tremendous heritage that is hard to replicate.
But again, I ask, whose threat is that going to be? Radio was never a thing for me. And the irony is, I had an art teacher at McLean. When he signed my graduation yearbook, he just out of the blue, he wrote, "Good luck in radio and TV." And I'm like, what the hell is this? And he goes, "Trust me."
If you had to come up with one word to describe KMJ, it would be stable.
100 years of KMJ premieres Thursday, March 30th at 7 p.m. on Valley PBS.
.255 on your afternoon drive. This is News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. My name is Philip Teresi. Phones are open for your calls at 490-5858, 800-776-5858. Corey, I'm sorry we missed you. If you get a chance to call back in, I do want to talk to you. FUSD spouse with a story about how teachers are being defeated by this culture of ineptitude. Right now, though, we'll talk to Mel. Welcome to KMJ, Mel.
Hi, Philip. I enjoyed the discussion you have going. You finished on the point. I had 3 points I wanted to make, and you finished your last segment on the last point I wanted to make, so I'll start with that one first. I think President Unified is way too large.
Yeah.
When you have a district that large, it's hard to manage. The more manageable district would be probably 35 to 40,000 students would be a more applicable way to look at it. Number one. And number two, and you could get to the stop. It's easier to turn around a tugboat than it is to turn around a big one of those big ocean liners.
Oh, yeah.
So when you have a smaller district, you can make some changes a lot quicker. But the other piece of that I want to talk about is I hear your passion about talking about the people who work for Fresno Unified. But what about the people who are in charge of setting policy and being able to make those people adhere to policy? That's who the pressure should be on, those board members. Superintendents work for boards. Everybody else in the district works for the superintendent. So why is it that we're not, as a community, making sure that we put in place people who sit on the board who understand what the role of a board member is? They only have 3 primary functions, and 90% of the people who sit on boards throughout this state have never read the ed code as it relates to their job.
Yep.
So that's why we're in the shape we're in, because they have no clue that they're supposed to be the leader of the superintendent, and they follow him. If there's an issue, they don't want to talk to the public. They want the superintendent to talk on their behalf. We didn't elect the superintendent. We elected the board members to speak to us and for us. So when we can understand that we have to make changes at the level of the people that we elect to sit in those seats, and board members have to understand they're politicians. Most of them don't want to acknowledge it. They want to act like they're just there for the children. But no. If that was the case, you could just sign up and go in and take a chair. But you have to be elected to that spot, which comes with a whole lot of responsibilities that most board members do not want to acknowledge that that's their job.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Mel, you are right on the money. And to be clear, my frustration is not with the vast majority of the people working on the campuses of Fresno Unified. I'm married to a teacher. I know exactly how tough that job is because I watch her sweat over it every day, and she's in a great district. That board of trustees has to be held accountable. This situation that we have where we have trustees that are elected by fewer people than actually attend anyone's school and act as if though they're the lords of creation and do nothing to hold Superintendent Nelson accountable, do nothing to require that Nikki Henry do her job. You're absolutely right. And we can handle that at the ballot box. Is handling it piece by piece in 2 years, in 6 years, and so on, going to be an adequate response for our kids? Or should the people who are there be taken to task while they're there? Mel, I appreciate your call. Phone's open for you at 490-5858. Toll free, you can join me at 800-776-5858. It's your afternoon drive on KMJ.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in TuneIn Radio or Google Podcasts.
California's #1 selling RV dealer does it again. Best RV presents its Blowout RV Sale now through March 5th. Come in now and see hundreds of motorhomes, toy haulers, fifth wheels, travel trailers, tent trailers, as well as Class A, B, and C. The selection is endless at Best RV. Best RV has the lowest prices, free dealer prep, and no hidden fees. Financing available. Best RV's huge blowout sale with deep discounts. It couldn't be a better time to get down to Best RV. Check them out at 5340 Taylor Court in Turlock or online at bestrv.com.
United Health Centers in Kingsburg is accepting new patients. We welcome you to make a medical appointment at this beautiful new health center located in downtown Kingsburg on 1251 Draper Street. Our providers care for patients of all ages and offer pediatric services to help your family be as healthy as possible. Call us today at 1-800-492-4227. 1-800-492-4227. United Health Centers. Wellness for a lifetime.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español.
Gracias, Babbel.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
The original KMJ, 580 AM, 1059 FM, Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
It's 3 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. Well, the Marjorie Mason Center, which helps battered women and children, will be receiving a portion of proceeds from an exhibition that starts this week here in Fresno. It's by an artist who was once abused herself. KMJ's Liz Kern has more.
Artist Christine Rosamond was born in Vallejo, California in 1947. She grew up in an extremely dysfunctional household. Both parents alcoholics, often failing to feed their 4 children, who became alcoholics themselves. Both Rosamond and her brother got sober. Both became artists and were pioneers in the hippie movement. Rosamond featured women in her paintings. For a brief period, she was known as the most published artist in the world. She died in 1994 at age 46. Rosamond's art will be featured March 2nd through the 25th at Corridor 2122 on Mono Street in Fresno. A portion of the money from the art sales will go to the Marjorie Mason Center and youth art programs here in Fresno. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
Residents in Oakhurst, Mariposa, and Coarse Gold experiencing power outages. Pacific Gas and electric officials say as of yesterday, over 20,000 residents are without power. Snow was seen blanketing areas of Oakhurst yesterday. Fresno Sheriff's Department snowcats are fully staffed. They're headed to homes buried in snow. Officials say they plan to clear as much snow as possible in communities near Highway 168 and 180. Caltrans officials say Highway 168 toward Shaver Lake remains closed as of this morning. Well, questions still linger about the health and safety following the toxic train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. And the only thing that is certain for residents there is a long road ahead to being whole again. Fox's Jeff Bonoso with more.
The Environmental Protection Agency continues to say that drinking water in East Palestine is safe, despite its warning this week that people stay out of streams and creeks over high levels of toxins from last month's fiery train crash.
The creeks that are closest to where the derailment was still are impacted.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine telling Fox and Friends once again that the cleanup process will be long but thorough.
We're staying with you. We're going to continue to work on this problem.
Same messaging from the EPA that said the air quality is safe even after reports from Texas A&M and Carnegie Mellon University researchers that say that chemicals persist in the air that can cause long-term health problems. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Fresno Fire Chief Carrie Donis has officially retired. She worked in public service for 27 years and served as chief for about 9. Under her leadership, the department gained more daily firefighters and new squads for medical emergencies. Deputy Chief Billy Elkhorn was named chief for now until the department finds a replacement. Now the forecast from Fox 26 is Justin Willis.
Sunny this afternoon with highs remaining below normal. We're in the mid-50s across the valley and will likely stay that way for about a week. Normally, we're in the mid-60s. Another freeze warning for tomorrow morning with temps on the valley floor getting as low as 27. Next chance of rain comes Saturday night into Sunday. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willett.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
And taking a look at traffic, the CHP is pacing traffic 4 miles north of Yosemite Forks to 3 miles south of Fish Camp. Chains are required from 3 miles north of that area to 2 miles south of Fish Camp. Chains are required 10 miles west of Highway 245 to Hume Lake Road, and Yosemite Park continues closed. The Grapevine is reopened, as has Highway 58. An incident in the Visalia area, southbound 99 at the Betty Drive off-ramp into Tulare. There are defective traffic signals. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
Find inspiration at the 37th Annual Fresno Home and Garden Show, March 3rd through 5th at the Fresno Fairgrounds. While there, be sure to visit one of our special exhibitors, Noble Credit Union.
At Noble Credit Union, we understand how hard you've worked building your home's equity. So now, let it work for you. Improvements like a remodeled kitchen or bathroom or a new patio or pool will add instant value to your home. Did you know you could even use the equity in your home to take a once-in-a-lifetime vacation or pay college tuition? Noble Credit Union is here to help you make smart decisions with low-rate loan options. Visit our booth and find out about our special home show offer, guaranteed to save you money. Noble Credit Union is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by NCUA. Noble Credit Union, where you're worth more.
And be sure to visit Noble Credit Union at the 37th Annual Fresno Home and Garden Show, March 3rd through 5th at the Fresno Fairgrounds. Info at fresnoshows.com.
Teresi, streaming live on Alexa, Google Home, and everything else. Philip Teresi on KMJ.
306 News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ. Online, you'll find the station at KMJNow.com. And if you want to listen online, the best way to do that is with the new KMJ Now app. It's free in the Google Play and iOS stores. Just search KMJ Now or 580 KMJ. And if you're having trouble with that FM signal, 1059 FM, that would be one of your two solutions. The other, of course, being to jump back to the almost 101-year-old 580 AM. Phones are open at 490-5858. Toll free, you can join me at 800-776-5858. Just one last note on the Fresno Unified thing. Some food for thought as you and I contemplate what the Fresno Unified communications officer refuses to. One of the questions that I have asked in this second round of questions in an attempt to maybe somehow eventually get enough information from the Fresno Unified School District office to begin to assemble some sense of what level of responsibility they believe they have in answering to the community and taking care of our kids, was the question, why is the Facebook page FUSD Family being purged of references to on-campus issues and district shortcomings? And I specify, like what we saw at Bullard in the case of the former, and the failure of the superintendent to speak about campus safety in reference to the latter. And I have had a large handful of people send me a few different versions of this message that Nikki Henry, the chief communications officer for the Fresno Unified School District, has been posting and then subsequently using as justification for the deletion of posts. In this case, there is a post from mid-February regarding the situation at Bullard High School. Once again, Nikki Henry, the $150,000 a year plus chief communications officer of the third largest school district inside the world's fourth largest economy, definitely acting like a pro with exclamation points and emojis in a post about children being beaten on campus and a school district failing to respond to it in any intelligent or meaningful way. Hi all, exclamation point, chief communications officer here, wavy hand. Annette Marie will be taking down the post about a fight at Bullard High School as it's not in line with the group norms. Mind you, this is a group, FUSD Family. It's a Facebook group for Fresno Unified employees and staff members. However, I just wanted to share what's been done and give a little insight in case folks have questions. She then says, the fight's beyond awful to see, and seeing the video, especially as a parent, is heartbreaking. It's completely understandable that as a parent, you would want to do everything in your power to protect your child in this situation. Now, that's a sensible statement. There's something that Nikki Henry could have sent when we started our conversation 2 weeks ago that would have been much more human than the, we're not doing interviews because nobody listens to KMJ that I got back. Then she says the 20-second video of the fight cuts off as the Bullard team was coming to intervene. That doesn't matter. Admin, safety, and the Fresno PD SRO were involved quickly. Appropriate discipline was given from both the Bullard team and from Fresno PD. When I say appropriate discipline, I ask you all to keep in mind California Ed Code, which is very specific on the circumstances in which a student can be expelled. That is not something specific to Fresno Unified and not something we can supersede. Well, don't argue about context. A 14-year-old girl got kicked in the skull on your campus and nobody was stopping it. Running up after the fact is lovely, but doesn't offset the part where a 14-year-old kid got kicked in the skull on your campus. And when the obviously emotional, upset parent wanted answers about all the stuff that Bullard was going to do to make sure her kid was okay, the vice principal told her, what do you want? I can't follow your kid around all day. So I'm pleased to hear appropriate discipline was eventually rendered, but the Archie Bunker shrug, you could do better. I know you can. You're paid too much not to be able to do better. Now, again, I know we can't talk about the specifics of what happened to these kids because of the California Ed Code and laws about children's right to privacy in the legal system as well. Nobody's been asking for you to reveal this child's identity. Everybody's been asking for a human response to a real problem. She then goes on to say, to clear up any false claims in the media, we've been answering all questions from the media. But as you know, we can't share specifics of student discipline due to privacy laws. Nobody asked you to. And you haven't been answering all questions. You apparently don't know how to put a link in an email. Your response to my questions was to send me a homework assignment to go out and research your board policies instead of just answering the damn question. You didn't answer the question. KMJ is specifically upset with us because we won't give them an interview. However, we've answered all their questions in writing. No, you haven't. You're a liar. And frankly, the interview wouldn't have been necessary if you, ma'am, had done your job. I also want to clarify that Bullard admin's been in contact regularly with the involved families, providing supports, and advised parents to refrain from using social media to share details of these fights as it may spread quickly, inciting retaliation or further conflicts between the parties. No. What was said to the parent was, it's going to make the school look bad. So you're lying again. And as far as providing supports, you have done nothing for the victim of the battery. Her mom sat here with me for 3 hours. You did nothing for the victim of the battery. You're a liar. I know it can be frustrating not to have specifics around discipline, but please know the Bullard team is working hard to keep our kids safe. How? What are they doing? What specifically is the Bullard team doing? What is the vice principal who said, I can't follow your kid around all day? What is he doing? What is Principal Terigian doing since he told the mother to take down the Facebook post that made the school look bad? What is Trustee Wittrup doing? What is Superintendent Nelson doing? Let's send them our love and support as they navigate a tough situation. Do you think it's tougher for the vice principal that gave the flippant answer, or for the 14-year-old girl that's got to transfer away from the high school she had been attending and completely uproot her social and academic life because she doesn't feel safe there? Because the response of the administration was, don't talk about it, you make us look bad, and what do you want me to do? Now, in addition to the offensively, indefensibly dishonest portrayal of how this conversation has gone, and guys, I've been thinking about it, and I think that it's probably time. I am going to go through and redact the emails because there's references to student names, stuff like that in there. I'm going to go through and I'm going to clean up the emails, and I'm going to post them on my website, so that the next time Nikki Henry, the Chief Communications Officer of the Fresno Unified School District, starts lying to people about how this conversation has gone, you'll have a link to share. You'll have something to point to say, nope, that's not what happened. You didn't answer questions. Now, here's the other piece. After her wavy emoji, because we're all adults here, Nikki Henry said, Annette Marie will be taking down the post about the fight at Bullard High as it's not in line with the group norms. One, the group norms are established by the people using the group. Two, you are an employee of a government agency deleting comments in a public forum. There is a very substantial argument that not only is Nikki Henry lying about the care given to the victim of this crime, that not only is Nikki Henry grossly misrepresenting the communication between herself and me. There is a possibility that Nikki Henry has directed her staff to violate the First Amendment rights of the people working for the Fresno Unified School District and participating in the FUSD Family Forum. Because you see, while Facebook does not have a legal obligation to the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, because Facebook is not a branch of the government, an employee of the government deleting somebody else's words in an effort at crisis management is arguably a violation of that person's First Amendment rights. You established a public forum and you are curating that forum as an agent of the government, as an employee of the Fresno Unified School District. So while we will continue to pursue some kind of actual answers from the Chief Communication Officer of the Fresno Unified School District, and I will continue to demand that Bob Nelson and Susan Wittrup put on their big boy pants and big girl pants and get on the phone and answer some real questions and talk about what they're actually going to do. I have to ask the question of those two people, which they may never answer because Bob Nelson to this day has not responded to a single one of my emails on this. The guy who makes almost as much as the president to sit around in a district office of a failing enterprise. Not one peep. He's got my number. This woman's deleting other people's words off of a public forum because it doesn't suit her narrative. That's very dangerous. That's very dangerous. You have a representative of a government entity policing speech. You think I'm sensationalizing the dysfunction of the Fresno Unified School District? Contemplate that. A person paid with your taxpayer dollars deleted somebody else's words because she didn't like the way it made the government agency she works for look. How many politicians got sued just for blocking people on Twitter? And this is the quality of service we're getting in Fresno. I hope you're bothered by it. You should be.
I have some good traffic news here. The Grapevine is reopened and Highway 58 is now open. The CHP is pacing traffic 4 miles north of Yosemite Forks to 3 miles south of Fish Camp. In Tulare County, southbound 99 at Betty Drive, there are defective traffic signals. Also in Tulare County, Avenue 332 at Road 161, an abandoned vehicle is causing some difficulty. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCarran.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Save now on your outdoor space with Lowe's. Get Scott's Turf Builder Weed and Feed Fertilizer starting at just $32.48. And tackle outdoor cleaning with electric pressure washers starting at just $99. Visit Lowe's to get a head start on your spring projects today.
Oh, it's doing great. I've been on it now for about 3.5 years. I've lost 67 pounds. And I feel better than I did at age 40. The only thing I'm just getting older. That's the only thing that doesn't stop. Other than that, I feel good.
Listen, we're all getting older, but that doesn't mean you have to feel your age. Are you ready to turn back the clock? It's 2023, and there's never been a better time to start looking and feeling young again. Introducing Andro400.com. Andro400.com has proven solutions to melt belly fat, increase mood and memory, increase energy, and bring that spark back to your love life. Visit Andro400.com or call 888-400-0435 to see which product is right for you. Try the safe and natural way to start feeling and looking your best. And there's nothing to lose with an industry-leading 90-day money-back guarantee. Visit Andro400.com or call 888-400-0435.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BEST for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BEST for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BEST for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
We expect our information in real time. US Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels. US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. So call 800-730-8405 today for a free insurance and Medicare benefits check. As easy as, that's 800-730-8405.
3 people you should be 100% certain about. Your barber, your plumber, and your tax pro. Switch to Jackson Hewitt and you can be 100% certain about your taxes. We'll get you your maximum refund guaranteed and we'll back your return for life. Don't be kind of certain or almost certain. Be 100% certain. Switch to Jackson Hewitt today and get 50% off tax prep. Limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-793-1525 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-793-1525. That's 800-793-1525. Again, 800-793-1525.
Mr. World here, about to take the plunge on the world's fastest roller coaster. I hope it's as fast as the in-store labs at Eyeglass World. When you drop in there, they make your glasses the same day. You should give it a whirl. Just remember to keep your hands and feet inside the Eyeglass World at all times.
Get 2 pairs of glasses for $89. Fast at Eyeglass World, the world's best way to buy glasses. Visit eyeglassworld.com to schedule your exam online and for offer details.
324, News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Good afternoon. My name is Philip Teresi. Phone's open for you, 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. We'll recap what we know about the arrest of these serial bombing suspects in just a couple of minutes, but I wanted to dip into this because I can't even imagine the frustration. If you head into Madera at the intersection of Pine Street and Howard Road, you'll find a bunch of businesses that aren't doing any business, if you can get to them, because they're flooded. Again. Our news partner, Fox 26, covered the issue back in November and again yesterday. The folks in the strip mall have made numerous complaints about that intersection flooding to the point that it's not even that they can't get into their businesses. One of the ladies here, she owns a boutique. She walked through the door to find stock floating through the store. At this point, the city of Madera is declining any on-camera interviews, but they sent a statement to Fox 26, very similar to what they sent in November, saying that this is, quote, a high-priority project area. Although city drainage systems are engineered to handle moderate to heavy rainfall, certain areas of our community may experience temporary localized flooding during exceptionally heavy, rapid downpours. To prepare for forecasted storms, street crews clear drainage ducts, remove obstructions that might impede water flow, and activate standby personnel to address any issues that may arise. The city also offers free sand and sandbags for residents on a first-come, first-served basis. Sand can be found at blah, 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 blah. They then go on to say that drainage improvement projects are usually planned in phases to try and minimize disruptions to everybody in the area and to ensure that they've got the adequate funding. And they make the observation that under normal circumstances, a project like that would be budgeted years in advance. The business owners in the complex are calling shenanigans. Robert Haley's the owner of Morgan's Barbershop. He says they know that it needs to be fixed. They just keep skirting the problem. Haley is sick of hearing excuses. He says they say either it's the pumps or it's electrical or it's too much water that the pumps can't handle, or they have a break in the sewers someplace and they can't divert any water into the sewer system. This place right here is the only place in Madera that businesses flood. A couple of doors down, Kendra Navarez owns Kendra's Thrift Boutique. She walked into her store to see shoes floating by. She says, my store was completely in the water. She also says that if anybody had disclosed the flooding issue, she never would have moved into the plaza. Kendra said, when this happens, it sets us back. It really does. We have to close our business. Before Gavin Newsom proclaimed the state of emergency in Madera County, Sheriff Pogue submitted an emergency proclamation due to the weather conditions. And we know exactly what's going on in Madera County. There's a lot that needs to be addressed. I mean, down power lines, trees, all that. This is not a new issue. If I recall from the November coverage by Fox 26, this is something that's been happening during just about every heavy rain for like 6 or 7 years. This isn't new. This isn't a one-off seasonal, oh my God, we've got a clogged pipe somewhere. This has been an ongoing issue. I'd be curious to know if these folks sat down with an attorney, if they would be able to, because of inhabitability issues, if they'd be able to break their leases. And I know for whoever owns that strip mall, that's a nightmare to hear that. All your people are going to leave. They're all going to bail, break their leases, and go elsewhere. But that should motivate whomever owns the strip mall to join in the fight to get the city of Madera Public Works, whatever specific entities and agencies have both the authority and the resources to deal with this problem, to solve this problem. Because we provide free sandbags is not an answer. The lady's got shoes floating around the inside of her store because it's underwater. That's not sandbagging time. That's sump pump time. That is public works time. And again, if it was a one-time deal, if it was something that had just been discovered in December, January, when we had that first run-through with the Atmospheric River series, I would say, okay, well, stuff gets blocked and we haven't had a lot of rain, so somebody somewhere was going to suffer, and man, it sucks it's these people. But this has been an ongoing issue for years and years. Now, I don't know what good the governor's state of emergency, I don't know what good the emergency proclamation from the sheriff is going to do specifically for these folks, because they're in the city. This is a public works issue, and it needs to be solved. And again, if it's not going to get solved, if these folks are going to have to put up with this every time it rains, if this was a known hazard that was not specifically disclosed to them when they signed their leases, I'd be out of there, man. I'd be gone. Look, if you live in a house and there is a livability problem, that's the one. That's the key. If you got a problem in a house with a livability issue and you can't get the owner of that property, the manager of that property, to attend to that issue, that is the one thing that you can then stand back and say, I'm not paying rent. I'm not giving you any money until you fix it, or I'm breaking the lease and I'm leaving. It's the trump card. And I cannot imagine that in the case of a commercial contract that it would be that different. Now, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not a commercial real estate agent, and I'm really not trying to pick on whoever owns the strip mall. But the city of Madera has got to fix this. It has been too long. It has happened too often, and people's livelihoods are getting dragged under. We've had enough of that. When we get back, we'll get you the latest on the serial bombing suspects, what we know, what we don't know, and where the investigation may go next. Right now, I've got an update of headlines with Jim Miller in the KMJ newsroom.
KMJ News now.
It's 4:30 in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. A Fresno man with links to a white supremacist group's under arrest in connection with 7 recent bombings in Fresno County. The LA Times reports Scott Anderson of Fresno alleged to have made and used pipe bombs on 6 vehicles since mid-December. A 7th incident involving a mailbox. Nobody hurt, but police say the attacks evolved and became more sophisticated each time. 4 people linked to Anderson have also been arrested. The motive behind the attack still unclear. The drenching rains are improving drought conditions in the Central Valley. Many parts there were in the severe or moderate drought category, now categorized as abnormally dry. That's one step away from eliminating drought conditions. At the end of last year, the U.S. Drought Monitor showed a large portion of the state was under extreme drought. The driver accused of a hit and run in Fresno that killed a high school student has been taken back into custody. KMJ's Liz Kern reports it happened this morning.
39-year-old Lisa Spores violated her pretrial release and was taken back into custody at her hearing. Her bail was also revoked. That is according to her attorney. The court did not disclose specifics of the violation. Her attorney says they've reserved the right to contest it. Spores faces 3 felony counts, including murder. She's accused of driving into 15-year-old Rashad Al-Hakim on October 4th. She was allegedly under the influence as she struck him while he was crossing the street by Hoover High School. He died a week later. At the time, illicit and prescription substances were found in her toxicology report. Spores had a prior 2008 conviction for driving under the influence. She is back in court for a preliminary hearing on March 15th. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Sunny this afternoon with highs remaining below normal. We're in the mid-50s across the valley and will likely stay that way for about a week. Normally, we're in the mid-60s. Another freeze warning for tomorrow morning with temps on the valley floor getting as low as 27. Next chance of rain comes Saturday night into Sunday. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willett.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
And taking a look at Thursday afternoon traffic, the 3300 block of North Bond in Fresno, that's between Shields and Clinton. There's been a hit-and-run collision, some injuries involved there. It doesn't say how serious. Southbound 99 at the 152 connector, an unknown object or objects in all three lanes. Northbound 99 at the Olive Avenue off-ramp in Fresno, there is a fire of some sort. And in Tulare County, Avenue 332, Road 161, an abandoned vehicle partially blocking the road. A reminder that the CHP is pacing traffic 4 miles north of Yosemite to 3 miles south of Fish Camp. And if you're headed to the mountains anywhere above 3,000 feet or slightly below, you're going to need chains. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
This report is sponsored by Churches.
There are so many reasons to get hooked on Church's 8-piece shrimp meal. It's dippable, crunchable, downright irresistible, and it starts at $5.99. The only catch? It's only here for a limited time. Church's Texas Chicken. Welcome to the great state of flavor.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Is the cost of medication stopping you from getting ED treatment? At forhims.com/radio, you can get access to trusted, effective ED treatments for 95% off the typical price. Through HIMS, a licensed medical provider can prescribe the generic versions of Viagra, Cialis, and other name brand ED treatments at up to 95% off. Trusted ED treatments for a fraction of the price. Simple, affordable, totally online access to ED treatment with no insurance required starts at forhims.com/radio. No more doctor's offices, no more copays, and no more trips to the pharmacy. If prescribed, your order ships directly to you for free in discreet packaging. ED treatment that's 95% less expensive so you can get back to feeling 100% like yourself. Start your free visit today at forhims.com/radio. That's forhims.com/radio for your free visit. forhims.com/radio.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español.
Gracias, Babbel.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Shopping for new blinds? At Blindster, we offer over 50 different blinds, shades, and shutters at low prices, custom made for your windows, and shipping is free. Shop at home and order 10 free samples of any product before you buy. Blindster.com.
Teresi tackles Fresno and California issues every day.
Philip Teresi
on News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Oh, rolling through your 3 o'clock hour at News Talk 580 and 1059 KMJ. My name is Philip Teresi. Glad you guys are here. Yesterday, we shared a press conference with Fresno Police Chief Paco Balderrama. District Attorney Lisa Smitkamp was a part of this, as was the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of California, Phil Taubert. Sean Bacon is an FBI special agent in charge. He was able to speak, as was Kirk Haynes, the Fresno County Chief Probation Officer. And that's just a drop in the bucket in terms of the manpower that was put into this investigation, which, by the way, the investigation itself has not concluded despite some arrests being made in a serial bombing story. Officers say that after a extensive investigation, they were able to identify this cat, his last name's Anderson, specifically 44-year-old Scott Anderson, as the primary suspect in this series of local bombings. And in particular, they had evidence from bombings that took place on January 6th and January 8th that led them to him. Additional evidence was obtained pertaining to the additional bombings once they started investigating him, that stuff going back into December. Detectives identified 3 separate locations related to Anderson. This included properties on West Dyer Avenue, East Alta Avenue, and West San Jose Avenue. Warrants for each location were authorized, as well as an arrest warrant for Anderson. So they started the search process. They brought in Clovis PD, Fresno County Sheriff's Office, and they actually got a little bit tripped up because the suspect left town on February 23rd, but he ended up getting stopped February 24th by the Riverside County Sheriff's Department because the Fresno Police Department and the FBI had shared information about Anderson with authorities in Southern California. They picked him up. They knew he was staying at a casino in Temecula, and they got him and his partner, 56-year-old Frank Rocha, I think it is, into custody without incident, thank goodness. They searched Anderson's vehicle, and as soon as they had him in custody, they were able to reinstitute the search warrants to go through those 3 properties. During the execution of those warrants, officers found 11 illegal firearms, 4 handguns, 5 rifles, 3 shotguns, and hundreds of rounds of ammo. They also found 90 grams of methamphetamines packaged for sale, plus $50,000 in cash. So according to U.S. Attorney Talbert, charges were filed Monday. Anderson's going to face federal charges for 3 pipe bombings here in the Fresno area, plus being a felon in possession of a firearm. DA Smitkamp revealed that her office was going to be filing charges against Anderson, including 7 counts of detonating an explosive device damaging property, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of ammunition by a convicted felon, possession of a short-barreled rifle, manufacturing a firearm with no valid serial number, and possession of brass knuckles. Anderson is at the Fresno County Jail. He's being held on no bail. There were 4 other folks who were picked up in the course of this investigation so far. One of the things that was extremely prominent in the initial coverage of this was a tremendous amount of neo-Nazi and white power paraphernalia. Flags, coffee mugs. So many Nazi coffee mugs. I don't know why that surprised me as much as it did, but it did. Literature, I suppose one would say. Books. It was quite a trove. At this point in the investigation, the authorities are not prepared to assign any specific membership or affiliation with any known white power organization or white power gang. Eventually, it's going to come out that these guys are connected to somebody. The other piece of this, and we talked about this a little bit with Rocky Pipkin earlier in the week, these guys were getting more and more sophisticated in their bomb-making techniques. They were getting better at it. And that seems to be a contributing factor in the increased frequency and boldness of the bombings, including blowing up a Fresno County probation vehicle. And that video, you can find that KMJnow.com or KMPH.com. That video was jaw-dropping. But it looks like they've got quite a laundry list of incidents here. December 13th, East Clinton Avenue, vehicle bombing. January 6th, West San Jose Avenue, vehicle bombing. January 8th, West San Jose Avenue, another vehicle bombing. The first one, the January 6th on West San Jose, they got the bomb into the vehicle. The second one on January 8th, they lobbed it under. A mailbox was bombed January 27th on North Argyle. 2 more vehicle bombings, January 27th on East Clinton, February 19th on West Fallbrook. And then finally that probation department vehicle bombing, that was February 21st over there on North Fine. That in particular, I guess thank God for dumb criminals. Yeah, their bomb-making technique was improving. They'd had practice, obviously, allegedly. But you went to a Fresno County probation building and you bombed a cop car. I mean, it's probation, but it's still a cop car in full view of video cameras. I'm sure because you've got this convicted felon and the cast of characters that were taken into custody so far in the course of this investigation, they don't really look like upstanding citizens to me either. I don't know their background, so I'm speculating, but I wouldn't be shocked to find out that a plurality of the additional suspects were also convicted criminals of one sort or another. I'm curious to see if there was an agenda. I'm curious to see if the bombing of the probation vehicle was meant to be the beginning of some kind of political statement, social statement. I'm curious if this was just methed out hillbillies getting weird and doing something dangerous and stupid as meth addicts will do. Or if we're going to find out that these guys had whatever the neo-Nazi iteration of helter-skelter is in their head, and they thought that they were going to kick something off with these bombings. I'm also curious because the FBI is involved, and I know this investigation's ongoing, but it's something that's weighed on my mind. The domestic terrorism component. Because there are people in this country, men and women who were born in this country who would call themselves Americans, who for one reason or another, they don't want to vote to change this system. They don't want to work from within. They want to blow things up. They want to use violence to overturn the system. I think with an eye towards, I don't know. But I'm very curious if this is part of a more cohesive ideology, or if, again, we just get back to methed out hillbillies with too much gunpowder and not enough time on their hands. It's an interesting story, and it's probably going to take, honestly, it's probably going to take years before we really understand the full scope of the thing. Interestingly, as the investigation into the Idaho College murders continue, there's actually a lot of information that's leaking out. They've got documents, they've got evidence information that has started to squeak out. There's some stuff that's made it to the public record that I have to admit I'm surprised it's made it to the public record already. The fact that it would eventually get there seems like a foregone conclusion. But we'll talk about some of these documents and some of this evidence that have turned up in the investigation into allegations that Brian Koberger murdered 4 University of Idaho College students. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ. Listen online at kmjnow.com.
And checking on traffic in the Fresno area, southbound 99 at the Golden State off-ramp. Traffic control is in effect after a vehicle versus pedestrian event happened. Highway 41 and Highway 33, there is traffic control after an incident with a vehicle apparently either tipping over or going down an embankment. Northbound 41 and East Shields, actually northbound 41 and Shields, there's a problem of some sort. A vehicle hit a school bus and then took off. People are on the scene taking care of that. The CHP is pacing traffic 4 miles north of Yosemite Forks to 3 miles south of Fish Camp. And if you're going to the mountains, be sure you take chains. It's very important. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. During Staples Teacher Palooza, teachers save big, or you save. It's the perfect time to help your favorite teachers stock their classroom. Save 25% on classroom decor. Plus 2-ounce bottles of Purell hand sanitizer at just 49 cents. In-store only. Offer ends 3/11. Hurry to Staples today.
Donate your old vehicle to carsforkids.org, the best car vehicle donation program. Your generosity changes the lives of kids right here in our community with a second chance to build a better future. Before you sell or give away that old vehicle in any condition, please donate it to carsforkids.org. Carsforkids.org takes cars, trucks, motorcycles. Pickup is free, plus you'll get a $50 Visa gift card as a special thank you. It's so easy to donate at carsforkids.org. Please, write off the car, not the kid.
McCaffrey Homes model grand opening is here. 11 new model homes now open at Tesoro Viejo. Tesoro Viejo was just named the nation's Community of the Year, and the incentives and savings are spectacular. Priced from the high 300s to the low 800s, the Poppy, Savannah, and Ivy home collections offer designs with up to 5 bedrooms to fit all lifestyles and budgets. All in a community made for resort-style living. Visit today. Highway 41 and Avenue 15, just minutes north of River Park. Learn more at McCaffreyHomes.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BEST for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BEST for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BEST for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
Are the continuous rising energy bills crushing you? Want to pay less for your home's electricity and lock in that lower rate into the future? Your family deserves the best. And when it comes to powering your home, there's no better provider than Simply Solar. With Simply Solar, going solar has never been easier. From our expert consultants to our in-house installers and the best financing. No payments for 18 months. Take advantage of the solar tax credit before it's gone. Going with Simply Solar means more money in your pocket for the things that matter, plus clean and renewable power to light up your home and family. Call now for a free consultation. For our Central Valley listeners, mention this radio ad for $1,000 off your solar system. Net metering ends in California on April 13th. Call Simply Solar at 559-892-1043 now. That's 559-892-1043. Simply Solar, keeping solar simple. 559-892-1043.
Ad paid for by Montreal Drugstore. Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. PowerPill allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $2 per pill? Call today and get 50 Viagra pills for only $99. This could cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us if you want Viagra at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $2 per pill. Call us today to save up to $500 and get 50 pills for just $99. PowerPill is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting to take your call now at 800-204-0017. Call 800-204-0017. That's 800-204-0017. Again, 800-204-0017. 800-204-0017.
Miss one of your favorite KMJ shows? Listen anytime, anywhere to our podcasts. Broski and Musan, Ray Appleton, The Afternoon Drive, Mark Levin, and many more. Get KMJ wherever you get your podcasts, and they're always available at KMJNow.com.
Almost 4 o'clock on your afternoon drive. This is News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. Phone's open, 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. I mentioned before the break that additional documents in the Idaho quadruple murder, additional documents have been unsealed. And so the revelation here is, the big one, is that the police seized a knife while law enforcement was serving a warrant at the suspect's parents' home in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania State Police and the FBI arrested suspect Brian Kohberger at his parents' house in the Poconos on December 30th. They actually did so during a nighttime tactical raid. They then searched the house, his car, the garage, and a shed on the property. And the new warrants show that police took a door panel off of his car. They took seat cushions, headrests. They gutted the car, including the gas pedals. They took a Band-Aid, maps and documents and other items. And this United States Department of Justice FBI receipt for property, case number, date December 30, 2022. Items listed below were, and they've got a check mark here, collected, seized, received from, returned to, released to. And the collected, seized box is checked. And then it enumerates 1, knife. 2, book with underlining on page 118. 3, AT&T bill for Brian C. Kohberger. From the house, cops got several weapons. They got a knife. They got a handgun with 3 magazines. They also took a cell phone, a laptop, some face masks, and a black hat. The list included a prescription, a, quote, green leafy substance in a container, vehicle paperwork, and other documents. It's a green leafy substance in a plastic bag. In the process of serving this warrant, they took time to take his weed. I mean, he's not going to need it where he's going, but power cable, cell phone, 3 Glock 40 caliber magazines emptied, books, a black face mask, prescription pill, black gloves, 1 black hat, 1 black mask. I mean, to their credit, they did their paperwork. Additional items that came out of Kohberger's parents' house included a computer, hardware for the computer, paperwork from Washington State University where Kohberger had been studying for his PhD in criminology. That was just a few miles from the victim's home, as you'll recall. It's an extensive list. It's one of those lists that in a vacuum would be utterly boring. But in the context of this investigation and of the accusations being made, gets creepy quick, doesn't it? It's News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. We got an update of headlines coming with Jim Miller from the KMJ Newsroom in just a minute. Another look at your afternoon drive with Ron McCary, and Hour 3 is on the way on KMJ. Don't move.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in TuneIn Radio or Google Podcasts.
Find inspiration at the 37th Annual Fresno Home and Garden Show, March 3rd through 5th at the Fresno Fairgrounds. While there, be sure to visit one of our special exhibitors, Raven Custom Homes.
Thinking about building a home? Think Raven Custom Homes. I'm Corbin Raven, second-generation builder. I was born into construction and took over from Dad 23 years ago. I know custom construction, and we do everything. Need site development? No power? No pad? No problem. We also draw plans, or we're happy to use yours. And of course, we'll connect you with financing. Start the process at ravencustomhomes.com. and hit the contact button. Quotes are free. And yes, we do go to the mountains. Raven Custom Homes, building family homes worth raving about.
And be sure to visit Raven Custom Homes at the 37th Annual Fresno Home and Garden Show, March 3rd through 5th at the Fresno Fairgrounds. Info at fresnoshows.com.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. It's normal. With CalHope's free and secure mental health resources, it's easy to get the help you and your loved ones need when you need it the most. Call our warm line at 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org today.
Valley Caregiver Resource Center is introducing a new idea, a matter of balance. It's simple and effective. A program designed to reduce the fear of falling and increase the activity levels of older adults who have concerns about losing balance and the injuries that follow. In multiple 2-hour sessions, this program sets realistic goals for increased activity. It promotes exercise to increase strength and balance and eliminates fall risk factors. A matter of balance puts confidence in your step because the fear of falling creates anxiety and contributes to the problem. A matter of balance is designed for older adults concerned about falls and how that restricts activities. Learn how to stop, look, and listen to your surroundings. Improve flexibility, balance, and strength. You too will see great results. For more information, call Valley Caregivers at 224-9154.
Funding provided by private donations and a grant from the Fresno Madera Area Agency on Aging.
Today on Hey Culligan, reverse to reduce. Here's Bob.
Hey Culligan, I love fresh water, but I got plastic bottles coming out.
Whoa, Bob, you are not kidding about the bottles. But did you know Culligan's reverse osmosis and always-on drinking water systems provide fresh, clean, delicious drinking water and help reduce the equivalent of over 15 billion plastic bottles from landfills worldwide?
Holy, fresh, environmentally friendly drinking water. Am I right?
Right, Bob. And we're already on the way.
Receive a free in-home water test by visiting CulliganFresnoLindsay.com.
News Talk 580 AM 105.9 FM KMJ Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
KMJ.
It's 4 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. The cost of construction on a portion of the high-speed rail in the Central Valley going up. In the latest update by the California High-Speed Rail Authority, the segment currently under construction between Madera and an almond orchard in Shafter will cost $4 billion more. There also isn't enough money to build the proposed Madera to Merced and Shafter to Bakersfield sections without the help of federal funding. Ridership estimates are also down 25% than shown in last year's plan. Recent storms have pushed some areas of California into the drought-free zone. KMJ's Gabe Navarro has more.
According to the latest figures by the U.S. Drought Monitor, portions of the region now show no water issues. Thanks to the feet of snow dumped by recent winter storms, both Mariposa and Tuolumne counties are now out of any drought conditions. And the same can also be said for eastern portions of Fresno, Madera, and Tulare counties. And according to these latest figures, the Drought Monitor says this is the first time since January 2020 the Sierra Nevada mountains and the foothills have been drought-free. Gabe Navarro, KMJ News.
Fresno police receiving 2 new canines to join them in the fight against the fentanyl epidemic. The Chuck Chanzy's philanthropic program, Chuck Chanzy Cares, made a $36,000 donation to the Fresno Police Chief's foundation that allows the department to launch the specialized narcotic canine team. The pups are named Tayish and Jawan, which means chief in strength in Chuck Chanzy. This is a major milestone for Fresno PD, making these dogs the first to detect fentanyl to support the Fentanyl Overdose Resolution Team, which is a partnership with several law enforcement agencies that focus on tracking down fentanyl dealers. The State Department approving the sale of F-16 munitions worth $619 million for Taiwan as tensions with China simmer. Fox's Jennifer Griffin has more from the Pentagon.
Since 2010, the U.S. has sent $37 billion in foreign military sales to Taiwan. Taipei has requested to buy 100 high-speed anti-radiation missiles, or HARM missiles, along with various various missile launchers that can be used by their F-16 fleet. The principal contractors will be Raytheon and Lockheed Martin. On Wednesday, China sent 25 warplanes and 3 warships toward Taiwan. The ministry said 19 of those planes crossed into Taiwan's air defense identification zone. Taiwan responded by scrambling fighters, dispatching ships, and activating coastal missile defense systems.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Sunny this afternoon with highs remaining below normal. We're in the mid-50s across the valley and will likely stay that way for about a week. Normally, we're in the mid-60s. Another freeze warning for tomorrow morning with temps on the valley floor getting as low as 27. Next chance of rain comes Saturday night into Sunday. From the Fox 26 Weather Center for KMJ, I'm Justin Willett.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
And taking a look at traffic, a quick reminder, Grapevine is now open, so is 58. Yosemite Park remains closed. And speaking of 41, the CHP is pacing traffic 4 miles north of Yosemite Forks to 3 miles south of Fish Camp. And on Highway 140, you can't get into Yosemite that way either. Again, the whole park is closed down right now. West Springfield and South Grantland, hit and run with no injuries. Tulare County Road 196, Avenue 336. There's been a collision with unknown injuries. Southbound 99 in Fresno, the Golden State off-ramp. There's traffic control in effect after a vehicle versus a pedestrian. And at the junction of 41 and 33, traffic control is in effect there due to a traffic incident. With KMJ Traffic and for Greg Lane, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th, only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now.
Let me start by saying thanks for all that you do.
The Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi on News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
4:05 on your afternoon drive. This is News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ. Breaking news right now. The jury has reached a verdict in the murder trial of attorney Alex Murdaugh. We're going to take you to the courtroom right now. The jury just coming in after only 3 hours of deliberations. It's the Alex Murdaugh verdict live on KMJ.
Thank you. Madam Ford, if you'll stand for me. Have you reached a verdict?
Yes, sir, we have.
Is it unanimous?
Yes, sir, it is.
All right, if you will pass it up to the clerk, who will pass it to me. And you may be seated.
Courtroom is packed. They got extra security on staff, which is no surprise. The judge has received the written answer from the jury. Murtaugh looks tense. Tense. You could hear a pin drop in that room right now.
The defendant will rise. Madam Clerk, you may publish the verdict starting with the back, not with the, let's see, I'll tell you again. Starting with the back, flipping them over one by one.
Okay.
State of South Carolina versus.
Docket number 2022 GS 15-00592, the State of South Carolina, County of Colleton, in the Court of General Sessions in the term of 2022, July, the State versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant, indictment for murder, SC Code 16-3, CDR code 0116. Okay. Guilty verdict. Signed by the forelady, 3/2/23. Docket number 2022-GS-15-00593, the State of South Carolina, County of Colleton, in the Court of General Sessions, the July term of 2022. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdoch, defendant. Indictment for murder, SC Code 16-3-0010, CDR Code 0116. Verdict, guilty. Signed by the forelady. Date 3/2/23. Docket number 2022-GS15-00595. The State of South Carolina, County of Colleton, Court of General Sessions, July term 2022. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdoch, defendant. Indictment for possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. SC Code -16-23-0490. CDR Code 0549. Verdict, guilty. Signed by the foreperson of the jury. Date 3/2/23. Docket number 2022-GS-15-00594. The State of South Carolina, County of Colleton, Court of General Sessions, July term 2022. The State versus Richard Alexander Murdoch, defendant. Indictment for possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime. SC Code 16-23-0490. CDR Code 0549. Verdict, guilty. Signed by the foreperson of the jury, 3/2/23.
Thank you. Madam Forelady and members of the jury, if that is the verdict of each and every juror, please let it be known by raising your right hands. All right, thank you. Any individual polling requested? Madam Clerk, you'll need to individually poll the jury according to their juror numbers.
Number 193. Was this your verdict?
Yes, sir.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 254.
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 326. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 530. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is this your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 544.
Yes.
Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 572. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 578. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 589. Was this your verdict? Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 630. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 729. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 826. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Juror 864. Was this your verdict?
Yes.
Is it still your verdict?
Yes.
Your Honor, the jury has been polled.
Thank you. The jury has been polled and the verdict is a unanimous verdict. If you will bring the alternate juror out and have her have a seat in the audience, please.
All right. That is the verdict in the trial of Alex Murtaugh. He is found guilty of murdering his wife and son. And I had not heard the process of polling the jury before. I'm assuming that's a South Carolinian thing. But boy, you want to talk about the sound of nails getting pounded into a coffin. Holy smokes. Following this trial, there was in my opinion, there was an arrogance on this guy's part. He was an attorney himself. He actually comes from a long and fairly distinguished line of attorneys. And it only took the jury 3 hours to come to this conclusion. 5 weeks of testimony, 70 witnesses, including Alex Murdaugh himself, who denied the murders but admitted lying to investigators and cheating his clients. And that was one of the components of this as they spoke to motive, was that there was this house of cards in how he had been treating his clients that was on the verge of collapse. And that these murders of his wife and his child may very well have been a way to try and garner some sympathy to distract from the trouble that he found himself in. Now, in the course of this investigation and in the course of his testimony in this trial, he admitted lying to investigators. He admitted to cheating his clients. Murdaugh himself was the one who called 911. He claimed to have discovered the bodies. It took almost a year for him to be charged. They were killed back in June of 2021. Now, he faces 30 years to life in prison, although there won't be sentencing today, I believe. Yes, sentencing is going to be at a later date. The victim impact statements will be at the time of the sentencing. The minimum sentence for murder in this jurisdiction is 30 years. The maximum is life imprisonment, and that does apply to each count. In terms of the weapons charges, they've got sentences of like 5 years and upwards from there. Normally, those sorts of charges would have to run concurrent if a life sentence is imposed. Obviously, they're not going to keep him in his cell past that point. The defense portrayed Murdaugh as a loving husband and father. They said that the police ignored the possibility that anybody else could have committed the murders. When testifying, Murdaugh blamed lying to investigators on a painkiller addiction. He said it had caused him to indulge in paranoid thinking. The lead prosecutor, Crichton Waters, said that Murdaugh was the only person who had the motive, the means, and the opportunity to commit the crimes, and that all of his guilty conduct after the crimes is what has betrayed him. The prosecutor told jurors that credibility is important and painted Murdaugh as somebody who is good at lying, and as an attorney is somebody who was accustomed to anticipating how jurors would read things. Quote, "This is an individual who is trained to understand how to put together complex cases. He's been a prosecutor. He's given closing arguments to juries before. When you have a defendant like that, be thinking about whether or not the individual is constructing defenses and alibis." And in his closing, the prosecutor recounted the timeline that investigators had put together, some of that using the 3 cell phones of Alex, his deceased wife, and child. One of the most damning pieces of evidence had to have been the video that placed Murdaugh at the kennels on the family property right before the authorities believed the shootings occurred. That contradicts Murdaugh's own statements where he said he was never at the kennels. And so the prosecutor emphasized that the last time that Alex Murdaugh saw his wife and child alive was the most important thing that he could have told law enforcement. Quote, "Why in the world would an innocent, reasonable father and husband lie about that and lie about it so early?" The defense attorney went to evidence and tried to attack the credibility of the investigation. He also went to character witnesses who talked about how much Alex Murdaugh loved his wife and son. Defense attorney Griffin asking, it brings us to the question, why? He completely discounted the state's motive, proposed motive, that the guy's, Murdaugh's years of lies and theft were about to catch up with him and that all this was a way to divert attention. Defense Attorney Griffin also addressed that Murdaugh admitted lying to the cops about his alibi, saying, quote, "I probably wouldn't be sitting over there right now if he didn't lie, but he did lie, and he told you he lied. He lied because that's what addicts do. He lied because he had a closet full of skeletons and he didn't want any more scrutiny." Now, Murdaugh, in addition to this trial, faces, they're saying, about 100 other charges, ranging from money laundering to faking his own death so his surviving son could cash in on his life insurance policy. He was also charged for allegedly misappropriating settlement funds in the death of his housekeeper, a woman named Gloria Satterfield, who reportedly died after a falling accident at the Murdaugh home in February of 2018. This guy's a sociopath. People dropping dead all around him. Does this surprise you at all? Is there anything about this verdict that caught you unawares? Or if you've been following this, is this what you anticipated? Did you know this guy was going to jail before the jury said the words just 10 minutes ago? Talk to you on the other side at 490-5858 on the afternoon drive on KMJ. Alex Murtaugh, guilty.
And looking at traffic south of Fresno, South Bryan, and West Dinuba, there has been a hit and run. No injuries involved there. In the Fresno metro area, East Tulare and North Minnewawa, a collision, unknown injuries. West Springfield and South Grantland in the Fresno area, hit and run with no injuries. In Tulare County, Road 196, Avenue 336, a collision with unknown injuries. If you're headed anywhere to the mountains and going anywhere near 3,000 feet or above, be sure you have chains. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
United Health Centers in Kingsburg is accepting new patients. We welcome you to make a medical appointment at this beautiful new health center located in downtown Kingsburg on 1251 Draper Street. Our providers care for patients of all ages and offer pediatric services to help your family be as healthy as possible. Call us today at 1-800-492-4227. 1-800-492-4227. United Health Centers. Wellness for a lifetime.
Clean and healthy water is essential for living your best life. LifeSource is the whole home water system that will change your life. LifeSource gives you filtered and delicious water from every tap, filtering out the bad stuff and keeping the good stuff for a healthier, happier you. No maintenance needed. New customers can get a free APA-Pure antibacterial filter, valued at $825 with qualifying purchase. Call 559-330-1850, LifeSourceWater.com. LifeSource, taste and feel the difference.
Find inspiration at the 37th Annual Fresno Home and Garden Show, March 3rd through 5th at the Fresno Fairgrounds. While there, be sure to visit one of our special exhibitors, Noble Credit Union.
At Noble Credit Union, we understand how hard you've worked building your home's equity. So now, let it work for you. Improvements like a remodeled kitchen or bathroom or a new patio or pool will add instant value to your home. Did you know you could even use the equity in your home to take a once-in-a-lifetime vacation or pay college tuition? Noble Credit Union is here to help you make smart decisions with low-rate loan options. Visit our booth and find out about our special home show offer, guaranteed to save you money. Noble Credit Union is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by NCUA. Noble Credit Union, where you're worth more.
And be sure to visit Noble Credit Union at the 37th Annual Fresno Home and Garden Show, March 3rd through 5th at the Fresno Fairgrounds. Info at fresnoshows.com.
Guys, here are the top 5 major lifestyle benefits of Andro 400. Number 1, lose body fat. Andro 400 curbs your appetite, which helps your body naturally burn body fat. Number 2, reduce sugar cravings. Andro 400 stops your urge to snack on sugary foods, which is a major cause of obesity. Number 3, increase energy. Andro 400 boosts energy throughout the day without the energy spikes you get from sugar or caffeine. Number 4, improve your mood. When you feel good about yourself, you're happy and confident, and Andro 400 can help do that for you. Number 5, boost testosterone levels. Andro 400 has helped men like you naturally increase their T levels. Those are the 5 major lifestyle benefits of Andro 400 and why men have been choosing Andro 400 since 2004. If you're ready for a more active and happy lifestyle, go to andro400.com and read true testimonials, see before and after pictures, and get free shipping and special discounts only on andro400.com. That's andro400.com.
Attention Fresno, Semper Solaris is ready to install your solar now. Thought about going solar? Then you must go solar right now. Get your solar system installed before net metering changes and rates go up even more. Declare your independence with Semper Solaris, your local and veteran-owned solar contractor who gets the job done with esprit de corps and honor. No money out of pocket and no payments until 2024. That's no utility bill, no payments all year. Keep your money in your pocket. Go solar American style with Semper Solaris. Worried about blackouts? Tesla and Enphase batteries are in stock. Call 559-242-1800. Worried about your roof? Semper's an Owens Corning Platinum Preferred Contractor. Upgrade to Owens Corning 50-year warranty free. Grab the 30% solar federal tax credit. $500 downloadable coupon, $500 off for military, first responders, plus 0 down 0% interest and 0 payments until 2024. For all offers, call 559-242-1800 or visit sempersolaris.com. Unapproved credit expires 3/31/23. CSLB number 978152.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th. Only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
423 on your afternoon drive. I'm Philip Teresi at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. If you missed it, we had the video live just a couple of minutes ago. Alex Murdaugh being found guilty of killing his wife and son. This is a trial that's really captured the imagination. A lot of people have been talking about this. Tommy points something out that Joshua Weekly sent to me just a minute ago. Netflix actually did a documentary series on this story. It's called The Murdaugh Murders, A Southern Scandal. And the description from Netflix, characteristically brief. Shocking tragedy shatter a tight-knit South Carolina community and expose the horrifying secrets of its most powerful family. The takeaways here from Ben Brash over at the Washington Post starts with this. A lot of smoke, no convictions. The series links 5 bodies over 6 years to the Murdaughs. Maggie and Paul Murdaugh, Mallory Beach, Gloria Statterfield, and Stephen Smith. But nobody has been convicted in any of those deaths. Maggie and Paul were shot to death on the family's almost 1,800-acre hunting estate in Islandton, South Carolina, back in June of 2021. 19-year-old Mallory Beach died after Paul, while allegedly drunk, crashed a boat into a bridge back in 2019. Gloria Statterfield helped keep up the family's home for 20 years before she allegedly fatally tripped over the Murdaugh's dogs and fell down a flight of stairs. Stephen Smith died in 2015, and the allegation from the docuseries is that he may have had a relationship with Alex Murdaugh's other son, Buster. He says that a constant throughout the series is the power dynamic and how authorities knew that messing with the Murdaughs would be complicated. The last 3 generations of this family were elected head prosecutors in Low Country. Michael DeWitt Jr. is the editor of the Hampton County Guardian. He said the Murdaughs were law and order here in the 14th Circuit. They ran both sides of the legal ledger. Now, during the trial, prosecutors showed the jury that the Murdaughs were so close to law enforcement that Alex had been given a badge and he had blue lights installed in his vehicle. The observation is made that everyone showed in the documentary thinks that Alex Murdaugh committed at least one criminal act. The series, despite reaching out to family members who declined to comment, didn't show a single person who thinks that Alex Murdaugh is totally innocent. At trial, they point out that Murdaugh admitted to financial crimes, saying that he stole from clients in his law practice. Now, the directors, this is Julia Willoughby Nason and Jenner First. These are the folks that did the documentaries Lula Rich and Fire Fraud. They quickly and consistently show the pain and trauma that many are still processing in that part of South Carolina. And they really get into when friends and family were remembering this 19-year-old woman who died in this drunken boating accident years earlier. The series has a number of people who say that even at the hospital, Alex Murdaugh was trying to blame another person on the boat for piloting it. Marty Cook said, I don't think the story is even close to being over. And yeah, I'm a little nervous about sitting here doing this now. This is the father of the kid that they tried to blame, a boy named Connor Cook. His dad was worried that the Murdaughs might kill him to cover up what he says is a lie about his boy. It's a strange, sad story, and it's definitely one of those people in power getting completely out of control kind of stories. I'm curious, now that Alex Murdaugh has been found guilty of murdering his wife and son, the power vacuum is going to be instant. The honorary badge and the flashers in his car granted to him as some kind of boon by local law enforcement. That sounds like something out of Moscow. Like that's something that the oligarchs do in Moscow. They put rotators on their cars so people know to stay out of their way in traffic. This guy's power is completely evaporated. I'm curious to see if now, one, if there's consequences for that local law enforcement that was, I don't know if I'd say covering for him, but just simply failing to investigate him. Or now that that vacuum exists, if those same characters, in looking critically at these other deaths around this family, if they don't begin to assign some culpability to Alex or to his kids. While Murdaugh's been found guilty and the sentencing is coming, but he's looking at 30 years to life. The story is most definitely not over. There is going to be a lot more ground to be covered in this. I'm very curious to see what comes out of that sentencing and what, if any, victim impact statements get made, because the judge made it clear earlier at the conclusion of the jury roll call vote that the victims would be able to make impact statements at that time, at the sentencing. I'm curious to see who shows up, who talks. I'm also curious to see, because he's probably going to be prosecuted simply for the sake of his former partners in his law practice and for the vindication of his clients trying to pursue relief. I'm curious to see if these other deaths eventually end up on his ledger as well. Certainly there's more to come, but if you're interested in the background of this story, you can check out The Murdaugh Murders, a Southern Scandal, that is streaming now on Netflix.
KMJ News now.
It's 4:30 in Fresno. Good afternoon. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. Well, the Fresno Sheriff's Department snowcat fully staffed and headed to homes buried in snow. Officials say they plan to clear as much snow as possible in communities near Highway 168 and 180. Caltrans officials say Highway 168 toward Shaver Lake remaining closed as of early this afternoon. Local state of emergency declared in Mariposa and Madera counties. That means the counties will get additional resources and funding for recovery efforts. The snowstorms are causing power outages, downed trees, and dangerous driving conditions. Residents at Oakhurst, Mariposa, and Coarsegold are experiencing power outages. Pacific Gas and electric officials say as of yesterday, over 20,000 residents without power. Snow seen blanketing areas of Oakhurst yesterday. More confusion at tax time over a so-called $600 Venmo rule. Fox's Teresi Crowley reports.
It's true that the IRS decided to delay the $600 rule till the 2024 tax season, so you don't have to report amounts over $600 on cash transfer apps and places like eBay and Ticketmaster this year. But apparently some companies are jumping the gun. The IRS says some individuals may receive a Form 1099-K in error for the sale of personal items or friends and family transactions. And now some platforms like eBay and Ticketmaster are also prompting customers to enter their Social Security numbers for sales over $600. eBay confirmed to The Hill that it's taken steps to comply with the new IRS rules, even though they're not in force yet. And the IRS says it's customers' job to dispute it with the provider. Teresi Crowley, Fox News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Justin Willis.
Another freeze warning for tomorrow morning with temps on the valley floor getting as low as 27 overnight. Our next chance of rain, that comes Saturday night into Sunday. Otherwise sunny this afternoon with highs remaining below normal. We're in the mid-50s across the valley and will likely stay that way for about a week. Normally we're in the mid-60s. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
And this traffic report is sponsored by Table Mountain Casino and Resort. Westbound 168 in Fresno at the Ashland Avenue off-ramp, there's been a collision, unknown injuries there. Northbound 41 at the Tulare Street on-ramp in Fresno, a collision, unknown injuries. In Madera County, between Avenue 7 and Avenue 7.5, there's been a collision with no injuries. South Bryant and West Inuba, south of Fresno, there's been a hit and run and no injuries. And East Tulare, this is in Fresno Metro, East Tulare and North Minnewawa, that's Minnewawa, a collision with unknown injuries. Now, here is another way to win this March at Table Mountain Casino Resort. You can win a stoneware set. On Thursdays from 5 a.m. to midnight, you can earn 900 points playing with your rewards card. If you qualify, you win. Pick up your gift piece from the promotions counter while supplies last. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th, only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
Looking for a new dining and beverage experience? Come check out Genesis Bistro at the northeast corner of Cedar and Nice in Fresno, where the chef's cuisine along with our mixologist's full cocktail and wine bar are getting people talking. Open for lunch and dinner, make your next meal with friends or family at Genesis Bistro, a one-of-a-kind experience. Also a great place to host a special event or celebration meal. To reserve an event, call 559-314-8284. Are you a talented hairstylist looking for a change? Check out 8028 Salon at Cedar and Nice, where we have open stations available and a move-in special. 8028 Salon offers a unique location and atmosphere for you and your clients. Elegantly located next to Genesis Bistro, your clients will have full options to enjoy food and drinks during service. 8028 Salon only has a few open stations left. Give your talents as a stylist the location you deserve at 8028 Salon. Inquire today at the location, northeast corner of Cedar and Nice in Fresno.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, agile, staying ahead of the market at every turn, and finding ways to do more with less. That's never been more important than it is right now. So for a limited time, Comcast Business is introducing Small Business Savings, a deal for companies across the country. When you call in now, you can get powerful internet for just $39 a month for 12 months. $39 a month. With no annual contract and a money-back guarantee. All on the largest, fastest, reliable network for small businesses. With the company that powers more businesses than anyone else. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call and get started today. Comcast Business. Powering possibilities.
Offer ends 3/21/23. Restrictions apply. New Comcast Business 50 megabits per second internet customers only. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change. Call or go online for details. After promo, regular rates apply.
Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. Want to be 100% certain about your taxes? Jackson Hewitt backs your return for life. Switch today and get 50% off tax prep. 50% off is a limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now.
And unfortunately, I'm furious about what's going on, so I can't enjoy the call as much as I would otherwise.
The Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
Coming up at 4:40 on a Thursday afternoon, I'm Philip Teresi at News Talk 580 on 1059 KMJ. Alex Murdaugh found guilty of killing his wife and son. A documentary that doesn't include this, but does include a tremendous amount of background about the outsized influence the Murdaugh family exercised over their little slice of South Carolina. Yeah, I posted the link to both of those so you guys could check them out. But this is the fact that the jury came back in 3 hours. That was remarkable to me, and I think that's significant. Sappington checking in on Facebook Live says that polling the jury is a common thing. I appreciate that. I've just never, I guess I've just not noticed it before. It didn't strike me as a bizarre bit of protocol. It seemed very belt and suspenders, but especially in a situation as serious as this, not unreasonable. I wasn't criticizing it. I just, somehow I hadn't seen it before. In any event, they polled the jury, and that was like listening to somebody drive nails into a coffin. And the look on Murdaugh's face as that poll continued showed that he was feeling that as well. I'm honestly, considering how shaky and unwell he looked once those guilty verdicts came in, I'm a little surprised the man kept his feet. Not that he's an otherwise unhealthy person, but just that load hit him hard. And possibly deservedly so. That Netflix documentary raises a lot of questions about a lot of death around this family, and the allegation of opportunism tied to that death is, well, it's not understated. So if you're interested in that documentary, like I said, links available for you. I just posted it on Facebook and Twitter at Drive KMJ. And I haven't yet seen, I'm sure by now the judge has made the decision, but I just haven't seen what the date for sentencing will be. I'm very curious to hear the victim impact statements at that sentencing hearing. So the House is moving forward with some of those agenda items that they had promised as we made our way towards the midterm. And today they introduced the Parents' Bill of Rights, which House Republicans say would give parents more insight and power into their children's education. A breakdown of the bill from Republican Congresswoman Julia Letlow says that school districts would be required to post curriculum information publicly available, to provide parents with a copy of revisions to state education standards. I feel like that's available if you want to go find it. But okay, let's explicitly link it up. Would require that parents be provided with a list of the books and reading materials available in the library, and there's more to it. Speaker McCarthy's comment was, you get to have a say in your kid's education, not the government telling you what to do. I'm very interested in this because there is, as in all things, there's two sides to be considered. On the one hand, you don't have to look far at all. Do I say it again? Fresno Unified. You don't have to look far at all to see a great example, or rather a stomach-turning example of a school district that doesn't believe in accountability to the community, doesn't communicate well with the community, doesn't communicate meaningfully with parents, and isn't providing for campus safety. It's much more focused on social emotional opportunities than on campus safety and academics. On the other hand, there is a new iteration of what in my mind will always be the 1980s satanic panic. You remember that in the 80s, all of a sudden everybody just went completely nuts. Satanism is everywhere. They were playing records backwards, and they were accusing Dee Snider of all manner of malfeasance, and they wanted to stick labels on records, and it was a panic. And now that panic has crept into the question of school policy, and I think that it's unlike the satanic panic of the 80s. It is something that has been earned on a case-by-case basis. Most of the school districts in this country want to fulfill their mandate of preparing children to become adults, to have them educationally and socially prepared to join the workforce upon graduation. Most school districts, that's the gig. Teach them to read, teach them to write, teach them to keep their hands to themselves, stuff like that. And if you can accomplish that, like, fantastic, mission accomplished. If you can get them out of there with a little vocational education, ready for college, some understanding of civics and history, that's even better. And I really believe that most of the schools in our country, that's what they want to do. But there are, unfortunately, schools in our country that have gotten waylaid and abused by the far left. And you've seen this folks use the word indoctrination, and it's starting to become an overused word, although I think that in the context of a school, it starts to become a little more relevant, a little more appropriate. Stuff like critical race theory that in reality was this kind of faculty lounge philosophical concept that was taking place in education at the professorial level. In other words, you had colleges, you had education departments contemplating what is critical race theory, how should it be implemented. And it's turned into this kind of catch-all term for make white people apologize for whiteness and promote everything that isn't white and isn't straight to the detriment of everybody in the system. I mean, it's really like what critical race theory was and what it has come to mean are two different things. The idea that a school would indoctrinate children to hate their own race because of the sins of their great-great-great-grandparents, or that they would indoctrinate children to view themselves as helpless victims of a society where, in reality, they have tremendous opportunity, unlimited upward mobility. The left has brought this to the doorsteps of the school because now the right has seen it, has become wary of it, has become angered and disgusted by it. But these school boards, where this is happening, they are so smug and so self-assured that they have tapped into what is right with the capital R. They're not listening. They're not responding. You get a handful of people that have an agenda that want to promote something that has nothing to do with reading and writing and arithmetic. And when somebody puts their hand up and says, hey, I'd really like it if you guys could just do your job and not worry about giving my kid a bunch of social ideas that aren't relevant to the life they're living. Now, does that mean that I think that we should pretend that gay people don't exist or that we should stuff them back in the closet? No, that's not what I'm saying. The goofball teacher up in Ontario with the Z cup breasts and the bad wig running around campus like some kind of drag show nightmare. I think trying to make a political point, it shouldn't be allowed to happen, and pretending that that's okay it's insane. But are we going to swing the pendulum too far the other way, where we aren't able to accommodate anything that isn't reading and writing and arithmetic, recognizing that there is more to education than the pure academics? Not a whole lot more, but there is more. Our schools have gotten so far off track, and these examples of abuse and bad behavior have been made so prominent. I'm not surprised at the enthusiasm, and there is enthusiasm. There was a rally of parents cheering this thing out in front of Capitol Hill. We'll talk a little bit more about what exactly this looks like, and are there any variations from what Josh Hawley was trying to put through in 2021? Would this change the way schools here in Central California operate? I think it would. It's an interesting possibility. We'll talk about it next on the Afternoon Drive on KMJ.
This traffic report is sponsored by Evans Feed and Livestock Supply. Eastbound 180 in the Fresno metro area at 41, there's been a collision. Emergency vehicles were called due to reported injuries. In Fresno also, westbound 168 at the Ashland Avenue off-ramp, the collision with unknown injuries. Northbound 41 at the Tulare Street on-ramp in Fresno, a collision with unknown injuries. And in Madera, between Avenue 7 and 7.5, there's been a collision. No injuries there. If you're headed to the mountains, remember, if you're headed anywhere near 3,000 feet or above, you will need chains. Yosemite Park remains closed. Good news is the Grapevine and Highway 58 are now open. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th. Only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
Hey, what movies do hens like most? Chick flicks. Get it? Hi, folks, this is Lon Hanna, and it's time again to decide between blondes, brunettes, or redheads. We're talking chicks, baby chicks, and from now through June, Evans Feed is your baby chick headquarters. They've got Rhode Island Reds, Americanas, Buff Orpingtons, New Hampshire Reds, you name it, ducks, geese, and turkeys too. On Thursdays only, buy a 50-pound chick starter and get 5 chicks free. This is Lon Hanna telling you to choose Evans Feed for your Western lifestyle in Madera, Chowchilla, and Porterville.
Hi, I'm Scott Miller, President and CEO of the Fresno Chamber of Commerce, and I want to invite you to the Mobagunu Memorial Golf Classic on Thursday, March 30th at Sunnyside Country Club. What better place to do business than on the golf course? With over $100,000 in hole-in-one prize money and a chance to win a new car, this will be a golf tournament you don't want to miss. Foursomes are selling fast, so sign up today. Registration and sponsorships available now at FresnoChamber.com. That's FresnoChamber.com.
Inflation goes up. Do you feel like you need to refinance your car to fill up the gas tank? What if 2 years ago someone offered to sell you a lifetime supply of gas at $2.75 a gallon, but you told them no? Today, you would be kicking yourself. Right now, Planet Solar has that same offer for you on your electric bill. As inflation goes up, so does your utility bill. Lock in your energy prices today with a new Planet Solar system. Planet Solar is locally owned and operated in Clovis. They're big enough to offer you all the best brands and in-house financing, but small enough to give you the personal service you deserve. Call Planet Solar to find out how to lock in your electricity costs today. You'll be glad you did. Call them at 559-228-9245 or find them on the web at planetsolar.com. That's 228-9245 or planetsolar.com. License number 938313.
Operations are minimizing. The demand for storage is higher than ever, and driving to an off-property storage facility isn't exactly practical. 20 to 45-foot repurposed shipping containers for personal and work storage are great. Container Stop will deliver yours to you, but Container Stop doesn't stop there. What about a tack room for equestrian use, utility room for a gym, auto or carpentry shop with roll-up door? Here's the coolest part. Container Stop can even deliver custom home space containers for construction site offices, working from home space, studio use, or even adding a living space. Yeah, complete with finished floors, walls, windows, bathroom, kitchenette, heat, and AC. Hard to imagine? Then don't. Visit containerstop.com and see for yourself. They have what you need, or will literally make it. Looking for short or long-term storage solutions? Stop. Nobody does storage containers better than Container Stop. Their website's easy. It's their name, then .com. ContainerStop.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BEST for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BEST for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BEST for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
Live. Local. KMJ.
Rolling up on 5 o'clock. News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. A couple of goodies up for grabs this week. John Mellencamp's going to be at the Soroyan Theater March 19th, and Fresno's Morning News has got another pair of tickets for you tomorrow morning, sometime between 6 and 9 a.m. Tickets are furnished by Golden Voice if you want to see John Mellencamp at the Soroyan Theater. You're listening to Fresno's Morning News tomorrow morning, starting at 6. The award-winning Fresno's Morning News on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. So the belief here is that culture wars are fueling this Parents' Bill of Rights legislation, H.R. 5 moving through Congress, and it would require school districts to post curriculum publicly, offer in-person meeting with parents, and notify parents of any instances of violence or assault at the school, amongst other measures. I'm trying to find how any of that is culture war-y. I am curious about the requirement to post curriculum publicly, not that I object to that as a concept, but I'm thinking of when you have a teacher who has, 2 or 3 preps that they teach 2 or 3 different classes. Maybe they teach government for a couple of periods, they teach history for a couple of periods, and then they've got an AP Psych class, something like that. That's 3 different curriculums that, as I have seen it, will evolve year over year. Not massively, but you learn how to teach a lesson better. You learn how to serve a point better. You find something that was a little bit more stimulating and engaging for the students, and you adjust as you go. And years into teaching any given subject, your curriculum is going to have evolved from what it was at year 1 or year 2. In terms of explaining that curriculum step by step, I wonder if that's going to be a more time-intensive process than what most teachers would do. Because, again, I'm thinking here of high school teachers, as opposed to sharing a syllabus, which is kind of a broad overview of what is to come. And it'll include things like what are the reading materials going to be, what are going to be the areas of study, what are the expectations for your grade, how are you scored, that kind of thing. I don't object to it. I'm just curious about the logistics of it, because the other piece is nobody is going to ask teachers to take possibly days of their life to write out a comprehensive curriculum to be posted to a website for free. Not to say that they won't have them do it, but that's not free. There's a cost associated with that in terms of teachers' time. As far as offering in-person meetings with parents, holy smokes. Are you kidding me? It should be a requirement already. You're on the taxpayer dole and you're involved with our children. You should be sitting down with parents nose to nose, if and whenever appropriate. And then finally, notifying parents of instances of violence or assault at the school. Yeah, a parent needs to know what the safety record is like on their child's campus. In terms of how would that change things for us locally? Those three things, almost not at all, with the exception of posting curriculum, which again, it's simply a matter of folks taking the time to make that available. The logistics there are just the availability. It's not the mechanics of it. Are you enthusiastic about this, or does this feel like it's more culture war stuff creeping in where it doesn't need to be? Curious to know your thoughts at 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. We got an update of headlines on the way with Jim Miller in the KMJ newsroom. Another look at your drive home with Ron McCary in the KMJ Traffic Center. And hour 4 of your afternoon drive is next on KMJ. Don't move.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Amazon Music or Stitcher.
I remember when Russ, my father-in-law, told me just because farming's in my blood doesn't mean I have to suffer with no money. I was knee-deep trying to save a dairy farm in a down market, and Russ taught me the value of the dirt our family owned. Taught me how to sell the land and turn it into a steady income way more than what I was making working it. We started Hoekstra & Associates so hardworking farmers like us could sell their farms at a good price. Then we help them turn that sale into a steady income for no extra fee. You can make way more than you're currently making off your farmland. Spend more time with family, at home, on other things you've always wanted to do. Live a comfortable lifestyle. Shoot, I'm still farming. Tough to get that dirt out of my fingernails, you know. Hoekstra & Associates. HOEKSTRA.land. Hoekstra.land. Reap an even bigger harvest.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español.
Gracias, Babbel.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
This is Christina Musan. Solar Negotiators is a household name here in the Central Valley for residential installation. They've got great service, the very best pricing, and options no other company can offer. But did you know they help more than just homeowners? If you've considered solar for your small business or nonprofit, Solar Negotiators can likely save you up to 15% on installation costs. And their maintenance packages keep your business saving long into the future. How do I know this? My family's business, Gar Bennett, went through Solar Negotiators in 2015. Since the system was installed, their company has continued to provide outstanding service by performing inspections, panel cleaning, and active monitoring regularly. Invest in your businesses now and for the long term. Call Solar Negotiators, powered by Solar Maintenance Pros, at 844-OWN-SOLAR. That's 844-OWN-SOLAR. Or visit solarnegotiators.com.
CSLB 1021919.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th, only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
The original KMJ, 580 AM, 1059 FM, Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
It's 5 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. Fresno County proclaims a state of emergency due to the winter storms. This comes after Governor Newsom declared a state of emergency for 13 counties, including Kern, Madera, Mariposa, San Luis Obispo, and Tulare. KMJ's Liz Kern has more in this report.
Fresno County says the state of emergency proclamation is to address extensive weather-related damage, as well as future damage from snowmelt, debris flow, and flooding throughout the more than 6,000 square miles in the county. The storms impacting several county roads, causing numerous hazards. California is struggling with the back-to-back winter storms. In the Sierra, dealing with blizzard conditions on Wednesday, with more snow in the forecast this weekend. Thousands of residents trapped in running springs in the San Bernardino Mountains, where the basics are in short supply as roads are cut off.
This is like kind of like a once-in-a-century type of situation, you know? There's a lot of snow and a lot of people aren't ready for it.
It's hard. Everything's closed. Can't really get food. There's a lot of people trapped and, can use some help.
Now the National Guard has been called in to help. Liz Kern, KMJ News.
The cost of construction of a portion of the high-speed rail in the Central Valley is going up. In the latest update by the California High-Speed Rail Authority, the segment currently under construction between Madera and an almond orchard in Shafter will cost $4 billion more. There also isn't enough money to build the proposed Madera to Merced and Shafter to Bakersfield sections without the help of federal funding. Ridership estimates are also down 25% than shown in last year's plan. Well, there's a lot of chicken in California and across the nation to eat. KMJ Ag Director Don York explains.
The supply of chicken available to eat in the United States continues to outpace beef, according to USDA's Economic Research Service. In 2021, 68.1 pounds of chicken per person were available, compared to 56.2 pounds of beef. The availability of chicken began to increase back in the 1940s, overtaking pork in 1996 and surpassing beef in 2010 to become the meat most available to eat across America. Since 1980, U.S. chicken availability per person has more than doubled. Don York, KMJ News.
The drenching rains are improving drought conditions in the Central Valley. Many parts that were in the severe or moderate drought category now categorized as abnormally dry. That's one step away from eliminating drought conditions. At the end of last year, the U.S. Drought Monitor showed a large portion of the state was under extreme drought. Now the forecast from Fox 26 is Justin Willis.
Another freeze warning for tomorrow morning, with temps on the valley floor getting as low as 27 overnight. Our next chance of rain, that comes Saturday night into Sunday. Otherwise sunny this afternoon, with highs remaining below normal. We're in the mid-50s across the valley and will likely stay that way for about a week. Normally we're in the mid-60s. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
And I bring you some good news here. The Grapevine has reopened, as has Highway 58 over the Tehachapi's. Now for not so good news, eastbound 180 here in Fresno at 41. There's been a collision. Emergency vehicles have been called to that scene. In Tulare County, Avenue 232, Road 68, a diesel spill on the roadway. And in Tulare County, southbound 99 at Avenue 7, there has been a vehicle that's gone down an embankment. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th, only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi. Philip Teresi. Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
506 News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Good afternoon. Welcome to hour number 4 of your afternoon drive. Phone numbers remain 490-5858. Toll free, you can join me at 800-776-5858. Find the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Drive KMJ, and watch the show streaming live on YouTube, Facebook Live, or Twitch.tv, also at Drive KMJ. Joshua Weekly stands by to screen your calls this afternoon. as we unfortunately start the hour with a sad update about a disc jockey out of the San Francisco Bay Area. Jeffrey J.V. Vandergrift was a part of the morning show at Wild 94.9. And it's a good spot to be in, just from a business standpoint. Wild 94.9 is a legacy brand. It has had some of the best on-air talent in West Coast radio for decades. I mean, it's just it's a top shelf urban and hip hop station. And this guy Jeffrey Vandergrift, he was on top of the pile. He was the morning show host, and he went missing. He had made a post to social media talking about his struggle with this brain fog that was the result of a severe case of Lyme disease, and a thank you to the people who supported him and who listened to him, that spoke in terms that, given the context of his very noticeable absence, sounded pretty grim. His girlfriend is also a Wild 94.9 host. And forgive me, Natasha's actually his wife, Natasha Yee. And she has finally released her own statement. And this is kind of sad. She says, "Thank you to our friends and the entire radio family and listeners for your love, support, and prayers. I can feel your love and energy for JV, and I'm so grateful for it. The amount of compassion for the physical torture JV has been going through for the past 2 years has been overwhelming." She says, "I have been in so much pain and fear, and I know all of you have been so scared and concerned for JV as well. JV and I have always considered this community part of our family, so I want to let you know that personal information has been discovered that leads us to believe JV will not be coming back. I tell you this with incredible pain and sadness in my heart." Natasha continues, "At this time, JV officially remains missing according to the San Francisco Police Department, but no foul play is suspected in his disappearance. We are incredibly appreciative for the SFPD's ongoing efforts in locating JV, and they've asked us to keep details to immediate family only. I know how painful this is for you to hear. Please know I have you in my thoughts. Please forgive my silence during this time. My heart is utterly broken, and the pain feels unbearable. I will do my best to provide updates, and I ask for you to please keep JV in your thoughts and prayers." She then says, for any information to aid in the search for JV, you can contact the San Francisco Police Department tip line. JV was last seen 10 o'clock last Thursday at his home on King Street up in the city. He's a white man, 6 feet tall, 180 pounds, bald-headed, brown eyes, got a couple of tattoos, including one above his right ear. Last time he was seen, he was wearing black sweatpants. And I'll share the link to this so you can see this and see the photos of him. This whole thing, it's so dark and it's so sad. I'm grateful that Natasha made the decision to share the statement that she did. It's devastating to hear that she's come into information that says JV's not coming back. It seems incredibly important to recognize that at this point, nobody has spoken of those haunting finalities that obviously are hanging over this. The situation just sucks. It sucks. It's a sad thing. I don't know the guy personally, so I can't tell you if he was a sweetheart or morning show prima donna guy or what. The outpouring of concern and the gravitas with which the people who do know him have handled this, it's a hell of a thing. I'll share the links so you can see the statement for yourself, and if you somehow do have information that would be relevant, again, contact the San Francisco Police Department. Let them know what's going on. Just a weird, sad story. 490-5858 is the number here. We'll talk to David switching gears. David, welcome to KMJ.
Hi, Philip. How are you?
I'm all right, man. What's up?
I didn't get a chance to chime in yesterday, but in regards to the sheriff's captain that gave a speech at a school,
yeah,
I was curious to know if we know if he was there representing the sheriff's department or if he was simply there as a citizen and giving his take on things.
That isn't totally clear. The way that I read it is he was there in uniform. He was there as a sheriff's captain.
Okay, I was curious how then they initiated an internal affairs. That wasn't clear. So
yeah, I don't think it's going to be clear because it's a personnel issue. So he's got a certain right to privacy there.
Of course, I understand that. My thing was if he was there as a private citizen and the school didn't like it or some parents complained, simply don't have him back. They shouldn't impact his employment if he was there as a private citizen.
I don't think that this should impact his employment either way because what he said and the context of the remarks in their totality, I don't think the guy said anything wrong. I think that it's a non-story ginned up because somebody who is so prudish that a guy trying to be a good mentor and encourage kids to pursue their better natures and to lean on their faith and their mentors being criticized for, because all of this really comes down to when he was at the front of that auditorium, he asked the boys, how many of you have looked at pornography? How many of you have masturbated? I guarantee if he had not said that word, masturbated, that nothing would have been done. There wouldn't have been a conversation here. Because the questions that he asked, the statistics that he cited, and the direction in which he took the conversation were all completely within reasonable boundaries for somebody talking to a bunch of teenagers about living a life of faith and trying to avoid temptation and sin. My main reason for sharing the story, because I do think that it's a non-story, and I think that it was a mistake to headline it and portray it in a way that sensationalized something that as soon as you read down to the context, it seemed very clearly not to be problematic. The reason that I shared it and that I talked about it is my frustration that we've got everybody together to clutch at our pearls and go through the motions of branding a good man as out of line because he used plain language, attention-getting language, relevant and clinical language. Meanwhile, we've got a school district that refuses to answer even the most basic questions about campus safety, that refuses to speak to the media in any kind of intelligible or above-board way. We've got a superintendent who is doing nothing, including answering questions about what can be done to improve the situation in the Fresno Unified School District. In other words, we have real problems. There are real educational worries in this community. And a bunch of people standing around grabbing at their pearls because a guy talking to teenagers about avoiding sin said the word masturbate. And when you talk about sensationalizing a story and coverage that isn't meant to inform or educate or to promote a better public understanding of the issues that actually affect people, we've got a real problem in this community. We've got a school district with a $2 billion budget that doesn't do its job and refuses to speak to the families and the community that fund it and that prop it up. Now, are there problems in Central? Yeah, there are. Are there problems in Clovis Unified? Sure, of course there are. The problems in Fresno Unified are completely outsized, and it's because of this culture of let's all gasp and point at the guy who said the M word instead of asking Bob Nelson why none of his children attend Fresno Unified schools. I mean, really hold that in your head for a minute. In the Bullard area alone, there are 500 students who have transferred away from Bullard High School. They are going somewhere else. Some of them in Fresno Unified, many of them just straight up not going to Fresno Unified schools. That includes the superintendent's kids. Now, he doesn't live in the Bullard area. Actually, I don't think Bob Nelson lives inside the boundaries of the Fresno Unified School District, period. Again, this guy who's paid $400,000 a year to lead the organization doesn't live within it and doesn't use it to educate his own kids. And I'm apparently the only person who's going to talk about it, which is mind-boggling to me because I am simultaneously the least educated and the least interested in conventional public school education out of probably everybody in the local media. And nobody's talking about this. But we got not one but two news sources that went off on this story about a good guy asking a relevant question to make a super relevant point in a way that teenagers would hear without so much as putting a single pinky toe over the line of propriety. It's this bizarre Karen action being treated as news, while actual news, like a $2 billion school district with 70,000 children, accomplishing none of the goals that it should be accomplishing, and in fact, not even bothering to measure its progress towards solving the problem. That's why I brought it up. But yeah, as far as whether the guy was on the clock, on duty, wearing his uniform out of turn, or showing up with a Bozo the Clown costume, it all feels irrelevant to me. And it's a waste of resources that we are talking about the sheriff's captain using the M word at a speech at Emmanuel High School when we've got this smoking crater that is the Fresno Unified School District. It mystifies me.
And taking a look at our Thursday traffic, northbound 99 in Fresno at the Sierra Street off-ramp. There has been a collision, no injuries there. Tulare County, southbound 99 at Avenue 76. There's a vehicle there that's gone down an embankment. Tulare County, Avenue 232, Road 68, a diesel spill on the roadway. And eastbound 180 at the 41 junction there's a collision there with injuries, and it's caused the eastbound 180 to back up almost from the 41 all the way back to the on-ramp from 99. The CHP has been pacing traffic 4 miles north of Yosemite, Forks to 3 miles south of Fish Camp this afternoon. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th, only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
I'm attorney Mark Capitan from the Capitan Brothers Law Firm. I hope you've tuned into my show here on KMJ each Saturday at noon. As attorneys, my brother Peter and I have been very successful at winning record-level personal injury awards. For years now, I've defended thousands of local people. In a time of personal difficulty, it's not always easy to know what to do. You need to be smart. Take the time and make the call. Ask for help. We have the solutions and we'll fight for you. Make the call to Capitan Brothers. You'll be doing yourself a favor. Call 559-498-8000 or click us online at capitanbrothers.com. If you've been in an accident, been injured, or in trouble, know you can trust the Capitan Brothers. The number again, 559-498-8000. This is attorney Mark Capitan inviting you to tune in to the Mark Capitan Show. every Saturday at noon right here on KMJ.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español. Gracias, Babbel.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-793-1525 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-793-1525. That's 800-793-1525. Again, 800-793-1525.
Tom Sharp for Maximum Air Gun.
Firearm regulations dogging your favorite hobby? Skip the restrictions and dive into the world of air rifles. 22 caliber through 50 cal, only at Maximum Air Guns in Fresno. From high power slugs to specialized scopes, we have everything you need to eradicate pests, target shoot, or try your hand at precision competitions. Buy today, shoot today. Maximum Air Gun specializes in paintball, airsoft, and we have a huge selection of air rifles. Maximum Air Gun on Blackstone next to Me and Ed's Pizza. You will be amazed.
United Health Centers in Kingsburg is accepting new patients. We welcome you to make a medical appointment at this beautiful new health center located in downtown Kingsburg on 1251 Draper Street. Our providers care for patients of all ages and offer pediatric services to help your family be as healthy as possible. Call us today at 1-800-492-4227. 1-800-492-4227. United Health Centers. Wellness for a lifetime.
5:23 on your afternoon drive. I'm Philip Teresi, and you're listening to News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ online. You can find us at KMJnow.com, and if you're struggling with the snow cone that is the FM signal, I understand. 2 ways you can deal with it. One is switch over to 580 AM. It's really easy. They're 100 years. 101 this month. The other way to go is with the new app, and you can download that for free in the Google Play and iOS stores. Just search for 580 KMJ or KMJ Now. It's free, and it is a new app. We got the new app in line just a couple of months ago, and this thing is a wild improvement over what we had going in 2022. So check it out. Just search, like I said, KMJ Now in the Google Play or iOS stores, and we will hopefully hear from you. 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. David, taking things in a slightly different direction. Welcome to KMJ.
Oh, howdy, Phil. Hey, by the way, there's a third way you can get the signal. You can get captured by the space aliens, and they'll put you something way up your nose, and you can get all the channels, but you just don't want to watch me tune in the dial.
That is a colorful thought, David. Thank you.
Now, reason I called, I don't know if you know it, but SNAP, that's the a new name for food stamps.
Yeah.
They got cut badly, like 2/3 in California. People are going to go down from about $240 a month to $97 a month.
Yeah.
They're saying that people who are retired on Social Security maybe going down to $23 a month. So, to get cut by 10 times as opposed to 1/3. And the fools that decided to cut SNAP benefits don't know squat. There's the old Ben Franklin, he used to talk about penny wise and pound foolish. Well, if you're going to have shoplifting increase by 20-fold because people don't have enough for food stamps, you're going to see prostitution increase by crazy numbers because people haven't got a bite to eat. And you're going to see evictions and all sorts of homelessness increase and property values fall because somebody is so stingy and cruel that they cut the food stamps. Much less the last thing, and this is the most important to prove that Republicans don't know squat about economics, is for every $1 food stamp that comes in a county, it turns into $1.82. So if fresh money comes from Washington, D.C., $1 turns into $1.82 in Fresno, how dumb do Republicans have to be? Or how cruel do they have to be to cut food stamps when it's going to turn $1 is going to turn into $1.82? So,
David, I appreciate where you're coming from, and I think that there's a mix of good and bad information in there. I'm gonna take issue with the how dumb and cruel the Republicans have to be. This change in the SNAP benefits, the food stamp benefits being paid to seniors, to the impoverished, all of that, is a result of the conclusion of the COVID-19 state of emergency. That conclusion is a policy choice by Gavin Newsom and his rubber stamp legislature in Sacramento, which has and continues to be a Democrat supermajority. So the Republicans have no control over this decision in the state of California. None. Additionally, there is the issue of the benefits at the level that folks have been receiving over the course of the pandemic were a result of the pandemic. And so what's really happening is they're returning to their pre-pandemic levels. Now, is there an argument to be made that inflation has devalued those dollars too? Yep, 100%. 100%. And is the SNAP system adequate to meet the needs of everybody participating in it? Almost certainly not. At the risk of sounding like a cruel person, the first thing that springs to my mind when I hear this is, how were you eating before the pandemic? Now, look, the pandemic screwed a lot of people over. A lot of folks lost jobs. A lot of folks burned through their credit. It is what happened during the pandemic and the shutdown of businesses and industry. It hurt a lot of people. And that's the people who got hurt. That's not a party line thing. It was all of us eventually, especially when you factor in the inflation, because my dollars aren't going as far as they were 3 years ago. But it's not a Republican cruelty. It's a Democrat policy choice. And it's not a revocation of an entitlement. It is a conclusion of an enhanced benefit that was the result of the pandemic. Now, your point about SNAP benefits resulting in stimulation in the local economy. I know that stat that you're citing, and I actually think that statistic is it's very valuable, because if you're trying to organize a farmer's market, if you're trying to run a grocery store, anything like that, it's important for you to recognize the value of participating in the SNAP and the EBT system, because, there's dollars coming in, and that stimulates the economy across the board. The problem is that economy stimulation, in my mind, is very much the result of cutting a rope in half and tying the opposite ends together to declare it a new, improved rope. That somehow, by dividing the unit that you had and rejoining it, you somehow have a larger unit. And That's ridiculous. If we weren't taxing the middle class to death, the need for those benefits would be reduced. The rate of inflation would be reduced. The amount of debt in the world would be reduced. And the need for those benefits certainly would not be eliminated, but would be a much smaller segment of society that would allow us to provide more to the smaller number of people who need that assistance. And the way that the system is structured in the state of California in particular is the fault of Democrats. Now, the attack on the middle class isn't exclusive to California, obviously. But I think that if you really look at the policies that have led us to where we are today, the inflation that we're seeing today, and the unenviable circumstances that a lot of these SNAP recipients exist in, you're going to see that these are the results of policies that came from the Biden administration, that came from the advice of Dr. Anthony Fauci, that came from the CDC under Biden, and that came from people like Gavin Newsom that were more excited by the ability to kind of play God than concerned with the ability to make certain that the needs of the entire population were met. Now, does that mean we should have done nothing about the pandemic? No. But where we are today, it isn't the fault of the Republicans, and the welfare and supplemental nutrition assistance that some people really do need. Sometimes you're talking about seniors who are on a limited income. Sometimes you're talking about folks having a hard time. And sometimes you're talking about folks who are not capable of providing for themselves. I have no desire to see those people go hungry, none whatsoever. But the problems with the system that we are seeing today, they're a direct result of a population voting itself bread and circuses, and then when finding themselves bereft of additional funding, would rather continue to see porky special interest projects get the funding instead of hungry seniors. Always appreciate the call, David. It's good talking to you. We got to get to an update of headlines with a very patient Jim Miller in the KMJ newsroom.
KMJ News now.
It's 5:30 in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. Fresno man with links to a white supremacist group is under arrest in connection with several recent bombings in Fresno County. LA Times reports Scott Anderson of Fresno alleged to have made and used pipe bombs on 6 vehicles since mid-December. A 7th incident involved a mailbox. Nobody was hurt, but police say the attacks evolved and became more sophisticated each time. 4 people linked to Anderson have also been arrested. The motive behind the attack still unclear. The drenching rains are improving drought conditions in the Central Valley. Many parts that were in the severe or moderate drought category now categorized as abnormally dry. That's one step away from eliminating drought conditions. At the end of last year, the U.S. Drought Monitor showed a large portion of the state was under extreme drought. A Pennsylvania man charged with trying to bring an explosive device onto an airplane. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more.
TSA screeners at Lehigh Valley International Airport in Allentown, Pennsylvania, caught the explosive device hidden in the lining of a bag on an Allegiant Air flight to Orlando, Florida. Prosecutors say the suitcase had been checked in on Monday by Mark Muffley, who is in custody. He had been paged at the airport after the discovery and was seen leaving, later traced to an address in Lansford where he was arrested by the FBI. An FBI bomb technician confirmed that the device contained commercial-grade fireworks wrapped in wax-like paper and clear plastic wrap. The bag also contained a can of butane, a lighter, a pipe with white powder residue, and a wireless drill, among other items. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26 is Justin Willis.
Another freeze warning for tomorrow morning with temps on the valley floor getting as low as 27 overnight. Our next chance of rain, that comes Saturday night into Sunday. Otherwise sunny this afternoon with highs remaining below normal. We're in the mid-50s across the valley and will likely stay that way for about a week. Normally we're in the mid-60s. For KMJ from the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Justin Willis.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
And looking at the current traffic conditions, northbound 99 at the Sierra Street off-ramp, There is some cleanup going on after a collision with no injuries. And Highway 41 at Adams, this is south of Fresno, there has been a hit and run with no injuries. CHP has been pacing traffic 4 miles north of Yosemite Forks to 3 miles south of Fish Camp this afternoon. And there's a good chance they're still doing that. So if you're headed to the mountains, be sure to take chains, particularly if you're going anywhere near or above 3,000 feet. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
I know exactly how you feel. You're sitting there at the gas pump wondering, am I ever going to have a regular meal again? Because you're cutting out all the good food because you can't afford the gas, right? Wait until you see your next PG&E bill. No more meals out and no more hair because you're going to be pulling that out as well, too. Do what I did. Planet Solar. When you have a solar system put in by Planet Solar, you literally lock in your energy price forever. Don't you wish it could be that way at the gas pump? Sorry, but you can't do that there. But you can do it for your home with Planet Solar, and it all began for them right here in Central California. One of the things I really liked about these guys is their financing. Don't let the rate hike scare you away from going with Planet Solar. And they are really quick and good and efficient on installation, and they have become masters at putting together a complete solar package with a solar battery. So you've got the juice when PG&E says, no, you don't need it because we're trying to conserve to save the world. Click planetsolar.com. Do that. Call them at 228-9245.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-929-2121. That's 1-800-929-2121. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-929-2121. That's 1-800-929-2121.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Is the cost of medication stopping you from getting ED treatment? At 4hims.com/radio, you can get access to trusted, effective ED treatments for 95% off the typical price. Through HIMS, a licensed medical provider can prescribe the generic versions of Viagra, Cialis, and other name brand ED treatments at up to 95% off. Trusted ED treatments for a fraction of the price. Simple, affordable, totally online access to ED treatment with no insurance required starts at 4hims.com/radio. No more doctor's offices, no more copays, and no more trips to the pharmacy. If prescribed, your order ships directly to you for free in discreet packaging. ED treatment that's 95% less expensive so you can get back to feeling 100% like yourself. Start your free visit today at 4hims.com/radio. That's FORHIMS.com/RADIO for your free visit. 4hims.com/radio.
That cruiser is pure gold.
Right you are, Daddy-O. Chuck Chansey Gold. It's the $600,000 Cruisin' Camaro giveaway. There are winners every day, February 27th through April 28th, only at Chuck Chansey Gold Resort and Casino.
Teresi, streaming live on Alexa, Google Home, and everything else. Philip Teresi on KMJ.
It's 5:40 on your afternoon drive. Last call for your calls right now, 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. As we know, the Miller Rule goes into effect about 15 minutes from now. We had a Florida man story. This is terrifying. Florida man dies after contracting brain-eating infection from rinsing his sinuses with tap water. The man, who has not been named as yet but was identified as a resident of Charlotte County, died on February 20th, 3 days before the county health department issued a public alert about the infection. One case involved a Naegleria fowleri single-celled living amoeba. The Department of Health in Charlotte County said that the infection is rare and it can only happen when water contaminated with the amoeba enters through the nose, stressing that this cannot happen just by drinking the tap water. But the amoeba causes an infection of the brain known as primary amoebic meningoencephalitis, a condition that does not have any known effective treatments. The CDC says this is the first ever case in Florida where a person was infected through tap water. It's the first ever case reported in winter months in the United States. It was also the first reported case of Naegleria fowleri infection in 2023. According to the CDC, the infection kills over 97% of the people who contract it. Out of 154 known infected individuals in the United States from 1962 to 2021, only 4 survived the infection. The CDC says this amoeba typically lives in warm freshwater bodies, lakes, rivers, and hot springs. It can also be found in the sediment at the bottom of lakes, ponds, and rivers. So the agency advises against digging in or stirring up soil in shallow, warm, fresh water. Yeah, because, when you go to play in the lake and you just walk across the top of it like Jesus, right? I'm sorry. I'm not, no intent to blasphemy there. What the hell do you think people do when they're getting in the water? All right. They say it's extremely rare for the amoeba to be found in swimming pools, splash pads, surf parks, or other recreational venues, but it can be present if they're not chlorinated properly. So in the United States, most of the infections have been linked to swimming in southern states. Texas and Florida report the most cases, 39 and 37 respectively. But following the death, the Department of Health in Charlotte said it's continuing to investigate how the infection occurred, and they're working with local public utilities to identify any potential links and take any necessary corrective actions. The Department of Health also said that residents should be cognizant while bathing, showering, washing faces, swimming, jumping into water, playing with hoses and sprinklers to avoid water going up the nose. They also recommend that you keep plastic and blow-up pools disinfected and just avoid slip and slides. Here's the part I was looking for. The Department of Health adds that sinus rinse solutions should always be made with distilled or sterilized water, which simply requires that you boil the water for a minute and let it cool off. The Department of Health urges residents to seek medical assistance immediately if any of the following symptoms are experienced after swimming in warm lakes or rivers or getting water up your nose: headache, fever, nausea, disorientation, vomiting, stiff neck, seizures, loss of balance, or hallucinations. This guy used a neti pot and turned an amoeba loose in his brain. I don't know that specifically it was the Neti brand, and I know that those sinus rinse appliances, they all make it very clear you need to be using sterilized water or distilled water. I know there's people out there who swear by it, who just think it's the greatest thing and it makes them feel better. And I suffer from seasonal allergies. I don't know how y'all got used to the air in Fresno in springtime. As we start to accelerate towards more blossoms, once this rain's gone, I'm on 3 different allergy medications. I got to do the nasal spray, I got to do Claritin, and I got to do eye drops, or I'm a mess. I can't function. And I still cannot, for the life of me, bring myself to do the nasal rinse. And not because I'm scared of the brain-eating amoeba. I understand enough to understand why you would want to use sterile water. But I will never forget, this was years and years ago. This is when I was working with Chris. Somebody got it into his head that he needed to try this neti pot. And again, I don't remember if it was that brand specifically, but it was a nasal rinse thing. And for reasons that I don't completely understand, except that it made for good radio, he decided to try and do this on the air, except that nobody had explained to him how to do it. And so he basically waterboarded himself in the studio live on the air. He got up and he laid on the countertop, and we had the sitting height counters in the FM KMJ. And he lies on the countertop and he hangs his head straight back off the edge of the counter. And he takes this stupid thing and he starts pouring water up his nose. And it to his credit, it took him about 10, 15 seconds before he completely lost it. And he came up off the counter and, hacking and coughing like you would after pouring, a half a liter of water into your sinuses with no escape route. I think that was the closest he ever got to slipping on the air. Chris was a pro, and I don't think he ever let one fly on the air at KMJ. That was the closest he ever got, and he was, oh man, he was not happy with himself. It made for a really funny bit, but that was all I needed to see. I'll not be participating. Thank you. So if you are going to do the nasal rinse thing, read the instructions thoroughly. Don't waterboard yourself. And for God's sakes, don't use tap water.
And this traffic report is sponsored by carsforkids.org. West of Fresno, North Hayes, and West Clinton. Actually, it's in Fresno. It's not west of Fresno. A big rig broke down, and it is blocking at least one lane. Northbound 99 at the Sierra Street off-ramp. There's cleanup going on after a collision with no injuries. I'll bring you good news. The Grapevine has reopened this afternoon, as has Highway 51. So Highway 58. 51 came from there, but we're talking about Highway 58 over to the Tehachapi's. With KMJ Traffic, I'm Ron McCary.
Carsforkids.org is the best vehicle donation charity, helping kids go from surviving to thriving. Carsforkids.org picks up vehicles in any condition for free.
Carsforkids.org. Right off the car, not the kid.
Attention tree nut growers, packers, and shippers. Looking for additional storage capacity in your warehouses? Need more space but do not want to build? Fresno Rack has helped tree nut facilities all over California with racking systems that not only increases storage by over 25%. Whether you're looking to increase pallet load storage or super sacks, Fresno Rack has the answer. They can design a system using flow tracking, pushback racking, drive-in racking, or selective racking to increase your warehouse storage capacities with in-house sales, design, and installation. You'll be shocked how fast Fresno Rack revamps your warehouse to give you more pallet spaces. Call Fresno Rack at 559-275-7225 or head to FresnoRack.com for a look under cold storage racking. And take a look. Fresno Rack would also love for you to visit their showroom too. Fresno Rack offers a no-obligation visit to discuss your storage needs and see if their systems will work for your nut warehouses.
McCaffrey Homes model grand opening is here. 11 new model homes now open at Tesoro Viejo. Tesoro Viejo was just named the nation's Community of the Year, and the incentives and savings are spectacular. Priced from the high 300s to the low 800s, the Poppy, Savannah, and Ivy home collections offer designs with up to 5 bedrooms to fit all lifestyles and budgets, all in a community made for resort-style living. Visit today. Highway 41 and Avenue 15, just minutes north of River Park. Learn more at McCaffreyHomes.com.
Let's face it, credit cards are pretty much a necessity.
New tires for the car? Here's my card.
I order takeout, here's my card. And most of us just accept the high interest rates credit cards charge as a necessary evil.
What are you going to do?
Get a low fixed-rate credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream from $5,000 to $100,000 and pay off those credit card balances. Apply online, and you could get your money as soon as the day you apply. The average credit card company charges over 19% APR. But with Lightstream, you can get a fixed rate as low as 7.99% APR with autopay and excellent credit.
Now I can pay off my high-interest credit cards and save money with a much lower rate.
Apply today at lightstream.com/radio and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/radio. lightstream.com/radio.
Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 7.99% APR to 23.99% APR and include a 0.5% auto pay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
NEM 3.0 is on the horizon and change is coming. Call Solar Negotiators today to find out how you can lock in your savings under California's current solar policy. Speak with a consultant today to get pre-qualified for a zero-down, low-interest rate loan and go 18 months with no payments. Go solar with confidence through Solar Negotiators, your lifetime energy partner. To learn more about NEM 3.0 or to get a free quote, visit solarnegotiators.com.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BEST for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BEST for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BEST for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
KMJ Fresno.
Everything that happens in Fresno's got to run the gauntlet at KMJ. It is such a blessing for you all to have what you have. It's been 100 years of communicating with your community. There's nothing like that for 1,000 miles.
And so ends our broadcast day.
Rolling up on 6 o'clock. It's News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Good stuff today, you guys. A lot of great phone calls. Thank you for making them. A lot of good comments in the chat rooms as well. Cold Salmon checking in on the EBT SNAP benefit reduction. He says that right now, because of the pandemic, he's been receiving $239 a month. Next month, that's going to go down to $25 a month. That really sucks. That's to go to 10%. And it's this whole thing's completely unnecessary, but it's got everything to do with legislators not thinking about taking care of people who need to be taken care of, but instead subsidizing bad behavior from corporations that don't want to pay living wages, and subsidizing people who don't need benefits but are good at creatively filling out the paperwork. I think there's also an issue of people who aren't entitled to benefits defrauding the system. And if you've seen that coverage of the EDD chief and her promotion by President Biden after it was revealed how many billions of dollars have been lost by the EDD due to fraud throughout the pandemic, just during the pandemic. We're just talking about a 3-year span. It's heartbreaking. And for folks who really need those benefits, I'm not rooting for people to go hungry. I want to be really clear about that. I don't know what the solution is. I just know that Sacramento isn't interested in a solution. They're going to use people like Cold Salmon as pawns to try and, once again, take more from the middle class and to justify more robbing of public funds for special interests in the guise of providing aid. And it's wrong. And it's, once again, evidence that elections have consequences and that allowing people to vote for things that have nothing to do with the proper and constitutional function of a government lead to suffering. And that is what we are seeing. We are seeing a government that has gone completely outside of its constitutional role causing people to suffer. And that has been, unfortunately, the story of the pandemic from beginning to end. Doing nothing was never an option. Working deliberately and intelligently and carefully and looking at effective solutions and listening to medical experts, that was always the way to go. And that's unfortunately not what we did. Guys, thank you for hanging out this afternoon. I appreciate, again, especially some of these great phone calls today. The great one, Mark Levin, is on the way in just a couple of minutes. Before that, we'll hear from the Fox News team as well as our friends at the Valley's Legends and Legacies. I'll be back with you tomorrow afternoon for the Friday show, starting at 2 o'clock on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. And don't forget, if you're trying to score tickets to see John Mellencamp March 19th at the Soroyan Theater, Golden Voice has got your tickets coming up on Fresno's Morning News, 6 to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Mark Levin is next. Don't move.